So that's where you're from. I never made it a secret. Hi, how you doing? I don't know why, but I was being Germany for no real reason. Maybe I'm from Germany because I speak German. Maybe that's why. But no, I'm Swiss. I'm from the cheese and chocolate country. Yeah, hi. Hope you will enjoy your first stream. Which isn't the usual program, it's a filler stream. Or maybe it becomes a regular thing, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, this is a filler stream because I have to wait for the thumbnail for the next playthrough. For the next Sunday playthrough. So instead, we try different things. Like last filler stream was an art stream. And now we try a reaction stream. Because why not? My favorite anime. I don't really watch anime anymore. I guess Digimon. Because most anime I just read the manga. Like I read One Piece and don't watch it. Same with JoJo's and Fairy Tail and all the other shows I like. Because that's more pog. But if you include manga in this, then One Piece, easily. Yeah, One Piece. I love One Piece. I'm up to date on One Piece and have reread it like multiple times. Hi Julius, how are you? What's everyone's favorite anime or manga? Let's ask everyone this question. But this paper crest stuff, oh nice. Like JoJo, hell yeah. I gotta catch up on part 9. I read like the first 5 or 6 chapters of part 9. But man, monthly releases are such a slog. Rupa's getting invited to oh, Evergarden is so good. It's so good. I love Evergarden. But yeah, I gotta catch up on JoJo's because monthly releases are such a pain. Because when I was catching up on JoJo's, part 8 was almost finished. Like part 8 had only like 5 or 6 chapters left. So I didn't have to bother with the monthly releases before. And now that I do have to bother with that, it's such a pain in the ass. Such an absolute pain. I also gotta catch up on Fairy Tail 100-Year Quest. But can't be bothered right now. I don't have time, I'm too busy playing Monster Hunter. And you know, making content. Yeah. We are watching some Switzerland videos today, because I want to do that for a while, but never found the right time. Hey, Ben, how are you? So just made a playlist of some videos I like about Switzerland, and tell you guys about my country. Because why the fuck not? Any of these videos are pre-watched, but it was a while ago. It is collaborating with 𝗩𝗏𝗃𝗃, yeah, but 𝗩𝗏𝗃𝗃 is mid. No, 𝗟ься, then what's the point of the collab? Like, for real. What's the fucking point of the collab? Was it Cersei put the wrong outfit on? When reacting to Switzerland videos, I should probably put on my dirndl. Hi Shell, how are you? Gotta put on a Swiss outfit for the Switzerland reactions. Doing alright, hell yeah. Good to hear. Makes sense, yeah. This is specifically a Bernese dirndl, because I am Bernese. So when I have an artist draw my outfit, I just send a picture of Bernese dirndls. Dirndl is so weird to say when you try to speak English. But dirndl is a funny word. Hey Miguel, how are you? Good to see you. It's a culture time, yeah. Dude, chicken is so good. Chicken has become my favorite protein in recent months. Would you guys know each other? That's cool. That's very cool. To show up on Alice's. Oh! You're an Alice viewer! That makes sense! Because I don't get new viewers! That makes sense! Because the algorithm hates me. Doesn't mean it's been bothering me for a while, but the algorithm fucking hates me for the whole month. Hey, that's nice. Just like if doesn't hate it. Yeah, but I talked about it in a member stream before. But my videos do not get pushed at all this month. Like in February, I was doing fine. I got like 5 new subscribers every fucking stream. Now, I lose subscribers every fucking stream. So yeah, I I just don't get pushed to new viewers. This entire month, since that one stream where I mentioned politics. Since that one stream, YouTube hates me. Alice is so cruel. She made me well 87. What? I gotta find a time to watch Alice more often. I don't really have time that often, sadly. What do you mean, cruel? If there's a way to let me... Where is scams and such, I can't tell you. What scam did Alice pull recently? Oh, sorry, Scorpio, how are you? Sorry, I didn't pay attention. But yes, Switzerland. It's okay. Yeah. It's gonna be because of 30 TS. I didn't even guess any knowledge. Yeah, that sounds like her. Definitely sounds like her. Saying Alice, I really want to hear her singing. If you can find it, can you send me a clip of her singing? I would love to hear that. You know, as a wee singer myself. But yeah. I think got some clips on the chat yesterday. Let's see if we can find them. Oh hell yeah, please do that. It's because I want to think she is a vampire. She's an elf. No, she's a nyanpire. She's not even a vampire, she's a nyanpire. I was gonna say, the first presentation video is a must watch. Oh? To be fair, the only thing I've seen of her is the times I rated her. Doesn't have singing, but it's a must. Well, if you want to share it, you can go to Discord. We have a videos channel where you can just post random videos. And you can post it there if you want to, so you can watch it later. But yeah. Also for the reactions I'm gonna do, I will cut them into separate videos, so I finally have some offline content. That's kind of the main reason why we do a reaction stream, by the way. So I can create some offline content. Because I'm a lazy ass bitch. And can't be bothered to edit actual videos. I am still writing the Living Dex video. I'm not past the first video yet. I'm slow, okay? I just need some content to post. Maybe then the algorithm likes me again, and reaction content is doing amazingly. So yeah, this is me just playing into the meta. For the first time I'm playing into the meta. And yeah. I guess you're just gonna send me the first video. I have 6 videos in my playlist. I can show you those. One second. Somebody giving me $2. I get a send to super chat. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. There is super chat goal. If you hit 10 super chats. Oh, but it's tier super chats. Oh, it doesn't count. We just make it $50 like always. I guess someone has to track the donations. But yeah, if you hit the goal of $50, I will reveal the project that will happen in May, which I've been teasing before. Because there's a thing happening in May. But yeah. Let's switch over to screen. This is a playlist I prepped with these videos. Animated history of Switzerland, Swiss trains. A video on Switzerland by not just bags because I like his channel. A video about Swiss bunkers. A video about Swiss guns. And the don'ts of visiting Switzerland, which I think is going to be interesting. Because you know all these traveling channels or something that say, oh, don't do this in this country. I don't want to see if I can fact check this dude. Just because. So yeah, that's kind of planned for today. Chef, thank you for the €5. Thank you. But they really gotta find better ways to reward super chats. Because all I can do right now is reveal projects. That's the only thing I can do. Because I have nothing else going on. Sounds specific? What? Zombie, thank you for the $5. Okay, you guys can chill. Wait. Wait. I was gonna say... I'm gonna thank you for becoming a recruit! Welcome to the battalion! Guys, chill! I was just gonna say I'm gonna mute the alerts during the reaction. So the sound doesn't interfere, but it's such a small sound anyway, so who cares? But... Guys, chill! But thank you so much. Oh my soul, we are not chilling. Absolutely no chilling, but yeah, enjoy the emotes. And yeah, we're just gonna save the first video, I guess.
This episode is supported by World of Tanks.
And it was way too loud. There we go. It's a perfect time to join today since tomorrow's member-only stream. Yeah. Every Sunday we have member-only streams with Majora's Mask. But it's only for soldiers and up. Recruits only get the VODs. Recruit is a budget option, so you just have the emotes. But yeah. Okay, let's learn about Swiss history and I see if I can add anything. If I can add anything, I don't just want to leech off others' content. I want to actually contribute something. Also, a little background. I'm Swiss. I live my entire life in Switzerland. So I think I know a few things about my country. So yeah, let's start watching. If the audio is okay, let me know. Smooth and reactions come to yeah. That's why it says in the video description, I react and comment on it. Because scares of turning into reaction. Yeah. Like I love react content. I just love watching videos with an anime girl sitting in a corner. But I want to actually contribute something. You know, make it actual fair use. I especially want to contribute a lot to the Not Just Spikes videos because he's not very fond of reaction content. So we'll see how it works. So, last one I have to sleep since I have to go up for like 20 cam. Thank you for the $5 and have a good night. Okay, let's actually watch the video now.
This episode is supported by World of Tanks. Thank you to all of these nice...
Wait, why the subtitles French? Ew. Why are they French? I want English, so I can read.
...people for supporting the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to join them and also get a free 𝗡ñie enamel pin, you can do so at patreon.com/𝗡ñie.
Is the audio volume good?
Merch store has a 20% off for Black Friday promo going on up until December 3rd. So if you want to get some merch, you can use the code.
Yeah, this video is 5 years old, by the way.
Thanks.
So none of this is up to date.
What is Switzerland and who are the Swiss?
Hi, it's me. I am the Swiss.
Come on, just look at the place. Ask anyone and you'll get a variety of answers. It's the country with the cows and the cheese. Okay, that's not helpful. What about the Swiss language? German, right? Except
no, it's not German.
I seem to understand it, and also some Swiss people speak French, Italian, and a fourth one everyone seems to forget.
Yep. We have 4 national languages. German, but we don't speak High German like Germany or Austria. We have our own variation of German, Swiss German, which Germans very struggle to understand. But I know there's a good video explaining how Swiss German works. Maybe we add this to the stream as well. But yeah, it's very different. It's similarly structured, but very different. Also, a third of the country speaks French. I live very close to that. I have French neighbors. I hate it. My entire town is bilingual. My entire town is both French and German. So when I go to the bakery or to the grocery store or to the pharmacy, everyone working there speaks both German and French. And that is very common. Like, it is common for Swiss people to know 2 to 3 languages. And Italian is only spoken south of the Alps, in Ticino, or Tessin, or whatever. Tessin, Ticino, same thing. And Rætoromanche is only spoken in a small part in the Alps, which I personally never heard ever. I never heard anyone speak it. I didn't know it exists because I don't live anywhere close to that region. Bleu Lion is in one of these videos. Yeah, so part of them is compulsory to learn. We can choose anything. Okay, when I was in school, I live in the German part of Switzerland. Specifically in Canton Bern. So I'm Bernese. That is German speaking. And we have German from 1st grade until we graduate. And in 5th grade, we have mandatory French until we graduate. Because Bern is bordering the French part of Switzerland. Like, if you live close to Ticino, you're more likely to have Italian in school. But I'm not too familiar with that. I can only speak for the Bernese region, by the way. And from 7th grade onward, we learn English. But that's when I stopped going to school, so I learned English by myself. But yeah, language is a big part of Swiss culture. And like, it's so funny when I see countries like America go fucking nuts when someone speaks Spanish. Even though that's the 2nd most spoken language in the country. Meanwhile, smaller Switzerland has 4 languages. It's fucking wild to me.
This is even less helpful. Here we go. The origins of the Swiss nation-state. This should clear things up. Ancient Switzerland was dominated by the Helvetii and the Rhaetians, who flourished in the Holstein.
Helvetii is the very old term we call the Swiss. Like, you know how every country has like a shortened version with 2 initials or whatever? Like Germany is DE, America is US, and so on. And Switzerland is CH, which means Confederatio Helvetica. And Helvetica comes from Helvetii. Still a fun fact. And Confederatio Helvetica is Latin, yeah.
That culture, living side by side in the valleys of the Alps.
That's the origin.
Romans. So far, so good. When the Romans fell, the Alps became the crossroads for Germanic tribes like the Alemanni and the Lombards invading the empire. So there we have our answer. The Swiss are just a weird mishmash of Celtic, Germanic, and Roman people without their own identity. Turns out the truth resists simplicity. Look a little closer and we can find something that united these people over all those centuries. Alpine transhumance.
Yeah, the Alps.
What the heck is transhumance? I'm glad you asked. Transhumance is the process of droving livestock to higher pastures in the summer to low valleys in the winter.
I mentioned this before sometimes on stream, but whenever the cows come down from the Alps, it's called the 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗃, I think. And you can just go and watch the cows parading down from the Alps back to the valley. And it's really cool. I've been to some of those a few times. It's really cool. It's Latin, so one language was not favored of the other. Yeah. Hi, Sujan, how you doing? Where can you teach at least 3 languages? Oh god.
Sounds almost too simple, right? Well,
but it's very cool to watch cows come down from the Alps.
Identity than we think. The seasons and the mountains dictated literally everything. Where you lived, what kind of house you built, what you farmed to eat, and what trade routes you were on. The Swiss were tied together by the Alps, passing down their way of life from culture to culture for centuries, laying down a nationalistic identity deeper than religion, monarchy, or even what language they spoke. The Swiss.
That's how the multiculturalism or multilingual stuff in Switzerland works. We're all united by the Alps.
were Swiss, long before Switzerland even existed.
Mm-mm.
Alright, this intro's gone on long enough.
Yay, World War! Oh, it's fucking opening.
Borders separate people. They separate trade,
Mhm.
culture, food, and language. Some borders are man-made, such as the ones we have today, but nothing separates humans like natural borders. Rivers,
True.
oceans, deserts, and in this case, mountains. The Swiss Alps form the border between the Germanic, Franco, and Italic language families. Okay,
Mhm.
that was easy. Let's talk about Reichsfrei. The Holy Roman Empire granted the state of Reichsfrei to cities or areas that were difficult to get to or largely self-sufficient, like, for example, the Alps. It made them self-governing, with no count, lord, or duke to answer to, only the emperor. 3 Alpine cantons, Schweiz, Uri, and Unterwalden, were granted Reichsfrei to govern the trade route linking Italy to the empire. Together, they were Waldstaaten, forest cantons, and their relationship with each other grew
Yeah, that's the
over
origin.
time. They worked together on matters of
Who's
trade,
gonna pay for the
even
tax?
defense in a series of treaties. Why the need for treaties, though? Turns out these areas really loved their Reichsfrei status. Ruling themselves high up in the mountains was a pretty sweet gig.
Yeah, the Swiss always loved their freedom. Like, this is probably something that comes up in a later video, but did you know that Switzerland was the blueprint for America's freedom? Did you know that? Freedom originated in Switzerland. And you can kind of see why.
And when an Austrian royal family started eyeing up their land, they were quick to retaliate. We don't need no hungry Habsburgs eating up our villages and towns into a conglomeration of hereditary states.
Yeah, this is that
perpetuated
fuck
by
you to the
selective
Habsburg.
marriage alliances, including but not limited to incest, which
Wait, what? Wait, what? Incest? Wait.
hereditary states
Wait.
perpetuated by selective marriage alliances, including but not limited to incest.
The Swiss said we don't want to be ruled by your fucking incest family tree. The Swiss were always based, even before they were Swiss. That is so fucking based. Gotta keep the royal bloodline pure.
Incest, which, you know, they could have just gone with, like, fight the power or something.
Nah, fight the power is
of course, were
boring.
that infamous Austrian noble house that practiced some pretty land-hungry marriage policies. But they actually had their start in modern-day Switzerland, coincidentally, so we all learned something new today. The
Yeah.
cantons banded together and drove the Habsburgs out of their land.
Also, there's a story about why they fought against Habsburg, which is connected to William Tell. I'm sure everyone knows about William Tell, right? The dude with a crossbow shot an apple off his kid's head. The story goes that then some noble or royalty, I don't remember who, crossed through his village. William Tell didn't bow to him. And it was seen as a massive disrespect, and that's why he had to shoot the apple of his kid's head as punishment. Because the Habsburg thought that he would miss. And then later on, because he was able to show disrespect to the Habsburg, that fueled the rebellion, apparently. It is debated if it's true or not.
And at the Battle of Mortgarten, the Swiss were allegedly so brutal that they gained a reputation as bloodthirsty warriors. The Swiss of all people. I know, right? Bet you weren't expecting that. The three became known as the Alte Eidgenossenschaft, but we just call them the Old Swiss Confederacy, Swiss coming from the...
We still call, not we, some like very patriotic people call themselves still Eidgenosse. Which, you know, patriotic term. It's like calling an American a patriot, basically.
Canton of Schweiz. The 3 cantons soon became 8. The cities of Lucerne, Zurich, Glarus, Bern, and Zug.
Bern! That's where I live! Yay! Now you know where I live!
Also weren't fans of the stinky Habsburgs and liked the cut of the Confederates' jib.
Yeah, fuck the Habsburg! Everyone, hashtag fuck the Habsburg, please.
The Habsburgs, thoroughly unamused, thought this whole Confederacy thing had gotten way out of hand and it was time to put an end to it. Twice they
Bern mentioned, yeah.
Confederacy's land, and twice they were repelled. Mortgarten was no fluke victory.
I don't know about the battle at 𝗂𝗡𝗄𝗄𝗃, but I know about the one at 𝗡𝗃. 𝗂𝗡𝗄𝗃.
The Swiss.
I know where 𝗂𝗂𝗃 is, like the town, but I don't remember what happened there exactly.
Freiburg, Neuchâtel, and Solothurn.
Neuchâtel and Freiburg are the French ones, by the way. And you can see Bern borders at the French-speaking region.
Joined as associates of Bern, Appenzellerland broke away from the Abbey of St. Gall. Aargau was conquered after its duke was exiled for supporting the anti-pope. And yes, anti-pope.
The anti-pope was a thing. In case you didn't know.
Joined as associates of Bern, Appenzellerland broke away from the Abbey of St. Gall. Aargau was conquered after its duke was exiled for supporting the anti-pope. And yes, anti-pope is a real thing. The German-speaking half of the Prince-Bishopric of Sion broke away from the Dukes of Savoy, and Schaffhausen and St. Gallen became associates. The last player we'll be looking at is the Grisons. This territory was divided at the time.
This is where they speak the 4th language, by the way, this region. Not all of it, but some parts.
3 alliances: the Grey League, the 10 jurisdictions, and the League of the House of God. The area was notable for its Romansh-speaking population,
Romansh, yeah.
the often forgotten 4th stepchild of Switzerland, remnants of the old Romanized Ratian people from the days of the Roman Empire. Okay, so the map is beginning to look a lot more like the Switzerland we all know and love. Not without some hiccups though, like the old Zurich War and the Rouen affair, which would nearly collapse the whole thing.
I don't know about the Zurich War.
These brothers' bonds would be sealed in warfare. Firstly, the Confederates conquered the Thurgau, which really upset the Habsburgs. In retaliation, Sigismund of Austria made a deal with Charles the Bold of Burgundy to attack the Swiss in exchange for land. However, ironically, the Habsburgs and the Swiss ended up working together against Charles in the Burgundy Wars after he took the land without delivering on his part of the deal. The Swiss and the Habsburgs defeated Charles 3 times in battle, in the last of which he was killed. The Swiss proverb was coined: Charles the Bold lost his goods at Conson, his boldness at Merton, and his blood at Nancy.
I'm trying to think, where is Morton again? I mean, Morton is at Lake Morton. But that's like only like 30 kilometers from where I live.
To try and ensure this won't happen again,
that is really close to where I live.
Confederacy with blackjack and called the Swabian League, and the two became fierce rivals. Maximilian I then tried to annex land in the Grisons to control the Umbriel Pass, and had passed reforms in the Diet of Worms to centralize his power over the empire. This erupted the Swabian War, and the Habsburgs, together with their Swabian League, were swiftly defeated.
Yeah, the Swiss didn't lose a single battle to my knowledge. The Swiss never lost a battle.
Two wars had numerous consequences. Along with creating a sense of unity, it had allowed
Unless I get corrected in this video.
as a strong military power able to project its influence outward, west to the Jura Mountains and south to the Leventina Valley, a traditional Lombard Italian-speaking area. Right, let's do an overview.
Notice I've massive to Swiss, yeah.
Feel pretty Swiss. But there was still the matter of what being Swiss actually meant. These cities had banded together in opposition to the Burgundians, French, and Austrians. But what exactly were they now? Well, let's take a look at what the Swiss had to offer the world.
Bishop is played for my friend,
Okay,
yeah.
but not nation.
Like, Switzerland has to this day one of the strongest militaries. Or militias, more accurately. And it's entirely based on self-defense. Complete on self-defense. And it's probably gonna happen in the video, but it was very it's very obvious that it's purely self-defense during World War II. Having to both defend from the Axis powers and the Allies at once. Because, yes, the Allies weren't really that nice either. Sorry to say that. Eventually, the time the Swiss guards saved the Pope from the sack of Rome. I'm sure we get into that about the whole mercenary thing.
Fighting? Maybe we're onto something here. Turns out the Burgundian Wars had given
Didn't go into it right now. Switzerland had an amazing mercenary industry.
the Swiss a bit of a reputation as incredible warriors. In a time when Europe was moving away from feudal levies toward career soldiers, Swiss soldiers became highly prized. Makes sense, right? The Swiss were basically stuck in the mountains all day defending.
The idea of almost everyone being able to own a gun is kind of say, yeah, we have a video later on about gun culture. So I'm not going to get into that now. But gun ownership is pretty similar between America and Switzerland. The only difference is that we actually only give guns to people who are mentally sane. You know, and every able-bodied man gets military training for the militia. And they get to keep their guns. So they learn proper gun safety in the military. That's why it's so different. And it's also a mentality about what guns actually are. But we get into that in another video.
Their valleys and trade routes, quietly getting really good at fighting. Having a Swiss contingent in your army could mean the difference between victory and defeat. And just like that,
the Swiss were strong.
Mercenary industry was born.
Do you see why I'm a Swiss halberdier VTuber now? Do you get it now? Why it chose to be a halberdier?
Everyone wanted them in their armies. The mercenaries were so effective that the elite members were sought after as bodyguards, a sort of late medieval personal detail for royal courts all over Europe. The top echelon of these guards were
we exported soldiers through the entire continent.
And the Pontifical Swiss Guard of the popes in Rome. Having a Swiss Guard force was kind of a badge of honor, since they were seen as fiercely loyal, capable, and would fight to the death with honor. Now it's time to talk about something that, according to my comments, I didn't go into nearly enough detail about in my Italy video, the Italian Wars. I'll let you guess where they were fought. The Italian Wars were basically a dispute between the rising powers at the time for influence over Europe. France, the Habsburgs, Spain, Venice, and the papacy, and Italy was their battleground. The wars themselves were long and complicated and ultimately fruitless, other than setting the stage for a rivalry between the enormous Habsburg Empire of Charles V and his French and Ottoman enemies, which admittedly became quickly overshadowed by...
I know you references. Hi, Maro. Yeah, I'm Swiss. Never made it a secret.
declaring that the Catholic Church was corrupt and illegitimate.
Yeah, this is Martin Luther, who kind of fucked over the church. He made the church split in two.
Protestant ideas would ring with some of the German leaders, beginning the Schmalkaldic War. Charles soon realized that the whole thing simply wasn't worth the headache and signed the Peace of Augsburg, legalizing Protestantism before abdicating and dividing his empire. Don't worry, buddy, ain't no shame in quitting. So, why did I bring up the seemingly unrelated war in the first place? Turns out the Swiss were instrumental to the conflict. Everybody wanted Swiss mercenaries, and war is good for business.
Yeah, but because everyone wanted Swiss people, Swiss warriors, it often ended up being Swiss versus Swiss. Which is kind of the dark part of the whole mercenary thing. I mean, at a point the church was telling people they could pay to win for heaven. Yeah. He listed 95 reasons why the church is a scam. Which is so fucking base. There's an entire movie about him, actually, which I watched when I was a kid. It's a really good movie.
And profited greatly off of the seemingly never-ending conflicts. But let's get back to that monk. He was, of course, Martin Luther, the father of the Reformation. His teachings would have a profound impact on a Swiss preacher, Ulrich Zwingli, And boy, do we have to talk about Zwingli. The humanist preacher
So the
from
Swiss
St.
changed the
Gallen
church.
stunned onlookers in Zurich in an act of defiance when he publicly called for the people to partake in the sacrilegious and downright blasphemous sin of eating sausages.
Chad, get your wieners out. It's time to eat some wieners. I love wieners. Yeah, eating sausages was bad once.
That's right, he defied the church by claiming that the practice of not eating meat during the time of Lent was unscriptural and should be voluntary, not mandatory. The event became known as the Affair of the Sausages.
That's the actual name of it. I learned about this in school. That's the actual name of it. The Affair of the Sausages. Is that wrong? Yeah, it is. Like, for those who don't know, I grew up Christian, but stopped going to church when I was a child because I didn't give a shit. But I'm aware of most things about Christianity.
Soon enough, the Reformation had taken a hold of Switzerland, with some of the cantons switching over to the Protestant faith. I wonder where this will go. Now, the Protestant Reformation...
Eating meat during Lent should be one take. Yeah, exactly.
It kick-started the German Peasants' War against serfdom, the French expulsion of the Huguenots, the Catholic Counter-Reformation, and eventually the 30 Years' War.
Switzerland triggered the 30 Years' War because they wanted to eat sausages. That is absolute comedy. Sausage war. The splitting of the church and the 30-Year War were triggered by a dude who wanted to eat sausages during Lent. The Wiener situation is crazy.
One of the bloodiest conflicts in European history. Now, because all sides of the war had used...
Yeah, this kind of happened.
Switzerland basically stayed out of the war. But soon, the continent got tired of butchering each other and sat down to negotiate peace in Westphalia. After signing the agreement, the European powers capped off the meeting by recognizing...
So do you say with the sausage party, or are you
Switzerland as independent, then tossed them the keys and told them to lock up. Thanks, I guess. So Switzerland is now fully independent, and Europe is at peace. Other than dealing with some local things, they kind of just sat around for a while.
If that entire mercenary industry collapsed.
With not much to do.
So what do you do now with the warriors is the question.
Let's talk about Swiss neutrality. Although their mercenaries fought in nearly every war, and the Swiss Guard were the bodyguards of dozens of monarchical courts, the Swiss themselves stayed out of wars in the early modern period. Why? Turns out the Europeans had become so dependent on Swiss mercenaries that neither side wanted the Swiss to land in the hands of the other.
Like, why would you attack the country? Where do you get the strongest warriors from? It just makes sense. It's similar with how Switzerland stored valuables for both sides of the World War. Like, why would you attack them if they hold your valuables and shit?
So everyone kind of just mutually agreed.
That would just be attacking your own resources.
You leave it alone, we leave it alone. Everyone can buy mercenaries, and everybody wins. Especially the Swiss, who profited greatly off of the wars. After all, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
Yeah. What is it good for? Money.
The old Confederacy became the Helvetic Republic, and then the new Confederacy, both client states of France. Now, we all know how this story ends with Napoleon being defeated at Waterloo, because he couldn't escape if he wanted to.
Sure.
But as for the Swiss, the Europeans sat down at the Treaty of Paris and formally guaranteed Swiss neutrality, disbanding the Swiss mercenaries and the Swiss Guard, once and for all. The ideas of the revolution being fully put into place in 1848 after the Civil War of the Sonderbund, formally federalizing Switzerland into a modern, constitutional and federal nation state. Switzerland was Swiss, and its citizens, no matter what language, background or religion, were given freedoms and rights by their government. And surprisingly enough, they remained fiercely
in Switzerland,
loyal
we're
to
all
their
equal
national
as long as you're a citizen.
staying out of the First and Second World War, even when compelled by others to get involved. It allowed for the growth of the Swiss banking industry, a controversial topic to this day, as well as making it a haven for revolutionaries, some of whom history has not been kind to.
Mussolini, Lenin, and sure.
Something that embodies the Swiss legacy for me has always been the final last stand of the Swiss Guard in revolutionary France.
Oh yeah, this is such a good story. Like, as a Swiss, I'm very proud of this part of history.
Revolutionaries stormed the palace at Tuileries to capture the king, whom they didn't know had already fled, and the Swiss Guard fought to the death in one last triumphant stand to protect their king. This monument of the Swiss lion protecting the coat of arms of the French king, wounded and dying, was carved into the stone wall at Lucerne to remember their sacrifice.
It's such a beautiful thing to watch, to see. Like, if you ever visit Switzerland, go to Lucerne. Not just as a city pretty and everything, but also to see this. Like, bro, Swiss soldiers were the fucking goats of Europe. Like, goddamn.
The last remnant of the Swiss Guard today are the Pontifical Swiss Guard, who serve the Pope in the Vatican City, complete with old regalia. But bear in mind, the actual Swiss Guard on duty are not on display. They're probably somewhere where you can't see them, but they see you.
The ones in the armor are just for show. But even those have proper military training. But they just walk around in armor and halberds for a show. This is a pretty city. It's not. It's absolutely not.
Claiming that by not standing for anything, they also don't stand up to anything, such as in the case of the Second World War.
Yeah, that's a thing that people shit on Switzerland for a lot, is that we don't take the right side. Like, neutrality is very controversial. And even in Switzerland, there is starting to have a movement for Switzerland to stop being so neutral. Like, I don't really pay attention much to Swiss politics, but there is someone, I think from the Green Party, I could be wrong, who wants Switzerland to join the EU, which would make us not neutral anymore. Because it would just become Germany's bitch, like the rest of the EU. And like, yes, not standing up against anything, sure. Like, bro, come on. Like, if Switzerland would stand up against, in World War II, if Switzerland would have stood up against Nazi Germany, I wouldn't be here right now. Like, if Switzerland would spit on the Axis power, even with the amazing self-defense that Switzerland has, like, no. Switzerland plays it smart for self-preservation, because we have the unfortunate position of being surrounded by powerful countries like Germany, Italy, and France. So the best you can do is just play it neutral. Because we were supposed to stay neutral, then decided to help everyone, even if we couldn't help ourselves. Yeah. Germany has their own problems. They need a new government. Yeah, we don't go into politics right now. I'm just saying about Swiss neutrality, how that's more out there is more and more of a push from the left to join the EU. Which would only have negative for Switzerland, by the way. It would only negatively impact Switzerland. Trump the sausages and 𝗟𝗴𝗃𝗲𝗏 in peace. Exactly!
When they refused to enter the war against the injustices of...
Okay, like... Why would Switzerland join the Second World War? If to the north you have Germany, to the south you have Italy, and to the west you have conquered France. Like, what was Switzerland supposed to do? It is actual people who shit on Switzerland for this.
The Third Reich and the fascist regimes, while still others applaud the neutrality stance. As for me, I don't know. I'm going Switzerland on this one. But you don't have to. You can take the fight to those regimes in World It's the best tanks-based game out there. World of Tanks is a great game.
It could put into the hardest defense map in existence. Yeah.
Definitely check it out.
Like during World War II, Switzerland was literally surrounded by the Third Reich. Like, Switzerland is the smallest country. Back then, we had like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 6 million citizens. What are we supposed to do?
Download the game to your PC in minutes using my link and start
like,
playing.
goddamn.
Thank you everyone for watching. The links to my Twitter and Reddit
it doesn't make any sense.
And also, thank you to all those people who signed up on Patreon.
They've grabbed Draco Shield, true.
If you'd like to support, you can also do so on Patreon. Also, if you'd prefer to just do a once-off purchase...
Yeah, that's the first video. That was good. It didn't go into detail though. Certain situations used when teaching realism in international relations. Yeah, also, hi people I didn't greet during the react. Hi. But yeah, Swiss POV of 4 is very realistic, so I can see that, yeah. The thing that's most controversial about the whole World War II thing is that Switzerland had made business with the Axis powers. You know, to not get bullied by the bullies, you have to kind of play nice with them, right? That's how it works. Also, the Allies weren't really that nice to Switzerland either. Like, there was multiple situations where British and American planes dropped bombs on Switzerland on accident. One of those accidents was Zurich, which isn't anywhere near the German border. So why did Switzerland take a side? Both sides of the Second World War have spit on Switzerland. Like, damn. No, like, when Second World War is topic with Switzerland, nobody talks about how America shat on Switzerland too. Nobody talks about that. Switzerland had to defend itself multiple times against Allied airplanes. Not just against the Nazis. Oh no, yeah, I know. But like, when it comes to history, America has a lot of stories, and they don't know about that shit. They only hear about how great America and the Allies were. But everyone, both sides, have done dumb shit to Switzerland. Like one bombing, I understand the bombing of Schaffhausen, because Schaffhausen is like a little nip that dips into the German border. Like that accidental bombing, I understand. But Zurich? Like damn. Indeed, the dream country, very neutral, yeah. Like, Switzerland did the right thing by just not allying with anyone, and just doing whatever needs to happen to keep the citizens safe. Like, keeping your people safe is more important than punishing the aggressor. To some degree. That's German to me. Let's blast it. Probably some US German. Yeah. Equal rights, equal lefts, equal invasion. And like, I know of one situation where I think a British pilot had to emergency land in Switzerland, and the Swiss helped them out by fixing the plane and sending them on their way. Like, that happened as well. Switzerland really just wanted its space to be left alone. I think something similar also happened with a German plane, but I could be wrong. It's just, okay, just chill for a second and go back home. Like, basically that. Like, oh, you went in the wrong door, please leave. Without actually punishing anyone. Just please leave us alone. We just wanna sit in our room and play video games. Are you gonna make him overstay? Yeah, of course. But yeah, I should watch a video. I should react to a video too about the situation specifically about World War II. Because Switzerland's situation in World War II is so interesting. Because it was the only non-annexed European country, Central European country. But yeah, Switzerland is Pog. I just love the history of the mercenaries. I'm so proud of that shit. Especially with the thing about the French king thing with the Lucerne statue. That shit makes me proud to be Swiss. There is a big plus. Dude, I'm so tired of the big plus joke. I hear that from everyone when I mention I'm Swiss. I hear that from literally everyone. But let's stop talking about the war and watch a video about trains. Because I love trains. Yes, I have autism. I love trains. Shocker.
This video is...
This is so cool, especially Swiss trains. The only country that rivals Swiss trains is Japan. And Japan is famous for its trains. If you look up the saga from some really cool history, okay. This is so new Digimon episode airs today. So you fix a plane thing and have you leave. Noriko in the 40s. Literally. We got some new bullet trains too. Yeah. Okay, let's watch a Not Just Spikes video. I love his channel, by the way. I watched him for years. I think Lace is Switzerland, so I like him even more. So, yeah, why Swiss trains are the best in Europe? Because they are. Like, one funny thing, when a train is late in Switzerland, there's like a 95% chance the train came from a neighboring country. That's how good Swiss trains are. But anyway, let's watch.
This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream and Nebula, which is possibly the best bundle deal in video streaming, but more about that later.
I live in the Netherlands, where we have some pretty good trains. There's a dense network that connects nearly all major towns and cities. The busiest train station, Utrecht Centraal, has over 1,000 train departures.
Dude, Deutsche Bahn is so garbage. Deutsche Bahn is why I don't like to travel to Germany.
Countries. For example, I can go to Paris in less than 3.5 hours. But as good as we have it here in the Netherlands, there's another country in Europe that does.
This is Swiss train company. My cat's the conductor sector. We did have an anime mascot once. Her name is Nozomi. Which I will go into probably at the end of the video. But yeah, there was an anime train mascot in Switzerland for a while.
This train's better. Much better, in fact. Welcome to the 𝗩𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗏𝗆 𝗙𝗃𝗃𝗃, or as I like to call it, Switzerland. Famous for mountains, holy cheese, chocolate, bending.
Fun fact, the Matterhorn is exactly on the border of Switzerland and Italy. And it's only barely on the Swiss side of the border. Little fun fact.
Knives and time bracelets, and of course, trains. Lots and lots of trains. Now,
Dude, Swiss trains are
I've been to
amazing.
Switzerland many times, and I've taken the train every time I've come because, of course, I did. It's the most efficient way.
This
to
is
get around.
Basel, I think.
But recently, I stayed a full week in Switzerland.
Yeah, Basel. Basel 𝗟𝗶𝗱𝗏𝗃. 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃 means Schweizer Bundesbahn, which is just Swiss national train or whatever.
Trains per day to find out what makes these trains.
Like 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃 is mostly for countrywide service, and we have regional train services as well. But 𝗟𝗶𝗃𝗃 is the main network.
The best trains in Europe. One of the things that really sets the train
Dawn!
system in Switzerland.
That's where my favorite cheese is from.
Look at this map.
Dude, the Swiss train network is so good. Look at this shit. Also, this area here is all mountains. That's why there's not so many trains here. This is all Alps. This area here. This here is the plateau where most people live, and then here are the Jura Mountains. Just as a reference, so you know a bit more about the terrain of Switzerland.
There are train stations everywhere. There are towns, tiny towns, that have consistent, reliable train service every 30 minutes.
Dude, I love the villages here.
They wouldn't even provide bus service to a place this small. Some of the smallest towns have request stop service, where you need to press this button to have the train stop. But
yeah, but this is very few. Most small towns get just bus service. But when it comes to small villages, unless they're in the mountains mostly, mountain villages get train service, but they have stop on request.
And this train station that services only a single cafe, a ski lift, and a hiking trail
Windtrek, yeah.
30 minutes.
I've never been there because I don't go skiing.
In Canada, a city of 1.3 million people, has no intercity train service.
Dude, train service in North America is so absolute garbage. Like, I've never been to North America, but I see enough. Like, I don't want to travel to North America mainly because there's no easy way to get around if you don't have a car.
At all. Zurich also has about 1.3 million.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if he talks about Zurich the city or Zurich the canton. Because the city itself has 400,000 citizens. Last time I checked. And the canton has 1.6 million.
People, but almost 3,000 trains per day. With train times so frequent, you don't even need to look at a schedule. So if you're taking the train here, you won't have to wait very long. Frequencies like this are the gold standard of public transportation, but this is really only feasible in more populated areas. So how do they provide such...
that gets memed on because it was big placement in a movie where the main character gets tagged on what? You probably would be confused if you saw the inside of a metro train. No. Metros are just worse trams.
Good train service to smaller towns and villages. Well, Switzerland is a relatively small country.
Is it weird that I know where this is? I know exactly where this is. Because that's where I had my commute to school when I was a kid. I know exactly where this is.
Country by land.
It's very funny, eh?
People may assume that's why the public transit can be so good, but these Wikipedia level statistics can be very misleading. Because by population, Swiss cities
Are you supposed to know? Okay, no, his graph is absolutely wrong. His graph is wrong. This is cities in Switzerland. No, wait. It's city and region. I didn't see it because of the subtitles. Okay, no, the graph is right. So he was talking about the canton. Okay. But yeah, Zurich has like an 8/47 of the entire country. This is why Zurich is so garbage. If you didn't notice, I don't like Zurich. Zurich is absolute garbage. I don't like going to Zurich. I want to go to Zurich to go to the airport.
actually aren't that big. After Zurich, the next largest city, Geneva, has only about 600,000 people in the whole region.
Yeah, the population cities is really small.
10% of the entire population.
Man, fuck Zurich. I always hate Zurich. Basic Swift friends. Yeah, sure.
In small villages of less than 10,000.
They do even $5.
People. In a way, Switzerland is a sprawling country, but instead of car-dependent...
Dude. This is such a waste of land. This is such an absolute waste of land. Wait, does this not even have sidewalks? Wait. There are no sidewalks. What? You guys don't even have sidewalks. This is North America. What? There's no sidewalks. Very small strip. I don't see any sidewalks in this picture. I just see the curb. Or is this little shit here a sidewalk? Like this road here, no sidewalk at all. This road, no sidewalk at all. This little shit here, that's the fucking curb. This shit is a fucking curb, not a sidewalk. Okay, here's a very tiny sidewalk on this probably main road. What the hell is this? These sidewalks, people just walk across others' yards. Yeah, I would too. And then you get shot because you walk over someone's property. Depends on the sidewalk, sometimes not. Like, I am very invested in urbanism. For those who don't know, urbanism is one of my big special interests. And I never get over how shitty America designs its cities. Like, what the hell is this? How do kids go to school for the sidewalk? Like, for real? How do kids go to school for the sidewalk? So in a patch of land. Scoop. Bro. More streets says walk the American way. They bus, walk, or get dropped off by parents. Dude, in Switzerland we only have school bus for the disabled kids. The other kids walk, take public transit, or bike. That's why urban planning is shaped by redlining, segregation. They're propping up the car industry, it says. Yeah, I know. But like, if there's a place where there should be sidewalks, it's a fucking residential area. Look for yardage, bro. That is actually dystopian.
Suburban sprawl, like you'd see in North America, it's village sprawl.
I was lucky enough to live close by two of my town schools, so I could actually walk to school. Nice. Actually, driving kids to school is bad for the kids' development. Because if they just drive by everything, they don't familiarize themselves with their own neighborhood, their own town. That's why so many North American people are just bad at orientation, at orienting themselves. That's one of the leading reasons why.
Yet the country still manages to cover this highly dispersed population.
Yeah, we just have small villages everywhere. Because I was in the school, up to middle school. Would have been telling, damn. I can understand if the school is far away. But again, you probably want to build more schools. Yeah, the thing is, America has a problem with zoning. Like, they don't allow for mixed development, so they can't build, like, schools or shops or whatever in residential areas. Which is so counterproductive. Like, those are the things you want to live close to. It's so dumb. I should watch some urbanist content in another stream. My parents always told me to pay attention to the places we pass when I was being driven. Yeah, that means you have good parents. But most parents don't do that. We want more schools, but when it starts to happen, NIMBYs come out of the water. Yeah, that's a nice thing. We don't have NIMBYs. NIMBYs aren't a thing in Switzerland. At least like people say miss out not experience walking somewhere. Yeah. It's absolutely missing out. So is it healthy? It's better for me. Yeah.
With exceptional public
Not
transport.
just Pax has a video on that. I should watch that too.
Uses what is called clock face scheduling. For example, a transit vehicle that comes every 30 minutes.
I know where this is.
15 minutes and 45 minutes after the hour, or 5 minutes and 35.
My dad used to live there.
4 times per hour at 5, 20, 35, and 50
Or somewhere close.
But regardless, it's consistent.
It was the same for solar and wind farms too. They didn't want renewable energy but lose their minds because of the view. Bro. Memes are weird.
And it goes all day, so that regular users won't have to think too much.
But yeah, train schedules are pretty based.
This is actually pretty normal in many countries' schedules.
Like, I never have to look at a schedule for my train to the city. Because I can just remember the time. Because it's always the same time. Every hour the same times. It's so based.
Their public transit this way, including the Netherlands and Germany.
You really only have to look at a schedule if you take a train for like the first 3 or 4 times. Also, by the way, the main train line goes to Geneva, to Lausanne, to Freiburg, to Bern, to Alten, to Zurich, and then somewhere here, usually St. Gallen. But sometimes it goes some other way, to Schaffhausen, for example. But the main line is Zurich to Geneva. That's the main line. And the most used commuter line.
Switzerland takes this a step further by synchronizing their timetables across the entire country.
And yeah, everything is aligned with the scheduling. like not just the trains are scheduled in a way that reduces your transfer time, like if you have to switch trains. This also includes buses. Like in the countryside, we have buses that go further in the countryside where trains aren't viable. And they have the same schedule as the trains. And they usually sit at the train station like 1 or 2 minutes before the train comes in and leaves like 2 or 3 minutes after the train stopped. So people have time to transfer to the bus, but don't have to wait like 10-15 minutes for the bus to go. But it also depends on which place, of course. But it's very tight. Like in my village, for example, we have train and bus. The train arrives every hour. The bus in both directions, because my region has a train. Buses basically driving a triangle, basically, between the 3 major connection points that have connections to trains. So my town is where they split off in the respective routes, and they just basically drive around and then come back together again in my town. And it's scheduled so those both buses arrive at the same time, which is, I think, 4 minutes before the train arrives. And then the train obviously stays for like 3 to 4 minutes. Because it's Endstation, the end of the line. The final station of the line. And the buses drive off like 2 or 3 minutes after the train opened the doors. It's a really small train station, like we have only one single train that goes back and forth. One single train. I live in a small town, by the way. My town has, I think, 3,000 citizens. So yeah, this one's from train. And to be fair, it only has 3 stops. Like my village, another village, a third village, and then a small town or a big town, depends how you look at it, that then connects to the major cities. And I would like to tell you which cities, but I would dox myself. But since I'm Bernese, I can say connects that last station connects to Bern, which is a major hub. Like the major hubs in Switzerland are Bern, Olten, and Zurich. Those are the ones with the best connections. Because Bern connects everything in the Romandy to the rest of the country. Olten is in the center of Basel, Bern, and Zurich, so a lot of regional traffic. And Zurich connects all of eastern Switzerland to the rest.
A method called pulse timetabling or integrated timetables. Here's how it works. Train departure time.
Not a new fireman game where you fight NIMBYs and anti-urbans to build the rail line. That would be so base. Someone make that ROM hack, please.
The train station are staggered, so that trains may be arriving every 30 minutes at, say, 15 minutes past the hour. And
I still know the time for my school commuter train, by the way. I still know the time. It's either 6 past the hour or 36 past the hour. That's when my commuter train was going. I think the schedule changed a bit since I was in school. That was over 10 years ago. But yeah.
Departing in a different direction at, say, 25 minutes past the hour.
Sargans, I don't know where Sargans is.
People arriving at the station will have at most 10 minutes to wait for their connecting train. But Switzerland integrates these timetables throughout the entire
Logic of the urban war.
network across the entire
Yeah.
country to minimize connection durations as much as possible. Not Just Bike's viewer 𝗩𝗏 has written a great article about this that I'll link to in the description, but here's a quick summary for those of you who are allergic to reading. His analysis, done at 10 a.m. on a Friday, so out
The usual connection time between trains in Switzerland. 40% of connections are 5 minutes or lower. You only see this kind of timetable in fucking Japan and Switzerland. Robert, do it.
Of rush hour shows that across the entire Swiss train network,
And honestly, the 30 minutes plus only happened to me when I missed my train. Because either I didn't bother running. Some trains are really close, by the way. Sometimes you have to run. Or because I spent too much time at the kiosk getting a drink. Which happened a lot, actually. But the 30 minutes plus usually only happens when you miss your train.
Average wait time for a connection is 8.4 minutes.
That's the average. That's also how late the average German train is. Yes, I'm throwing shade at Germany. Everyone knows that Deutsche Bahn is absolute garbage. Like 8.4, that's nothing. Like a hunt in Monster Hunter takes longer than this.
With 70
Sometimes, depends on the monster.
Possible connections being 10 minutes or less. That's astonishing. And it
Bus to Lucano. Connections to Lucano are kinda garbage, honestly. They're all around the same time. Like the one with no transfer takes 2 hours 56 minutes. And this is the longest one with one transfer that takes 3 hours 60 minutes. That is not a big difference. That's just 20 minutes. And it's probably taking a different route than this one. That's good. Also, the symbol here means there's construction or maintenance going on. So that also adds to the delay.
It means that even a trip with multiple train connections is only marginally longer than a single direct train. Another benefit of integrated timetabling is that the Swiss can squeeze the most capacity possible out of their network. Switzerland is an incredibly mountainous country, and that means that building rail lines is extremely expensive. So there are a lot of individual rail lines and a small...
Dude, this shit is so fucking cool. I should take trains in the Alps more often. Because most lines in the Alps are only a single line that traffic both directions. And that's really cool. And it only works because of the tight scheduling.
Small number of routes need to be shared by a large number of rail services. This tight scheduling is the only way a route like this could operate with only a...
Also, read this sign. Where the fuck is... Oh, that's an ad. I thought it's a street sign.
For example, while traveling through the south of Switzerland, our train occasionally needed to wait briefly for another train to clear the tunnel, which was only a single track. But wait times were short, and we...
That's why trains through the Alps are a bit slower. Because you wait for another train to pass so it can take the same line. That's why it takes 3 hours to get to Lugano. But Bern to Zurich is only 1 hour, but about the same amount of distance.
Of course, in order to pull this off, the trains need to arrive when they're supposed to arrive, and Swiss trains are famously...
This is Bern!
The official statistic is that 91.9% of all trains arrive on time, but it's even better than it sounds.
No, it isn't. It kind of looked like it. This is Bern. This is Bern Hauptbahnhof. Yeah. Yeah, I see the train I would need to take home. Hell yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna dox a little thing about myself. My school is right at this train station. One of the schools I went to. It's right at this train station. So my breaks during lunch and recess and shit, I just spent at a train station. Spending people or train watching. That was so pog. But if anyone wants to find the school I was at, I don't give a shit because the school is garbage. If you find the Burger King surrounding the train station, My school is right across from that. And there used to be an electronics store right below that, where I always browse the new games during breaks and shit.
Is defined as within 3
It's now
minutes of
some
the scheduled
herbal
arrival
crystal
time.
shop or whatever.
This is a much stricter definition than you'll find in many other.
Also, this spot specifically where the camera is right now is called a 𝗍punkt, the meeting spot. And this is just where you meet the people you want to meet. This is where you meet up. Like when I go to Bern to meet my dad or my bestie, we meet at this exact spot.
Other countries. Here in the Netherlands, for example, the national carrier Nederlandse Spoorwegen considers a train to be on time if
Oh, the late thing. Yes, isn't a train is considered late after 3 minutes? If it's 3 minutes late, it's considered late.
it's within 5 minutes of the scheduled arrival time. And where I used to live in the Greater Toronto area, Go Transit uses a 15-minute metric for
15 minutes! That's more than just late. If in Switzerland a train is late by 15 minutes or longer, they prepare a replacement train or bus. Like, goddamn!
for on-time performance for a region that is a tiny fraction the size of Switzerland, but with a similar population. And if you think that's bad, Via Rail in Canada says that 71% of their trains are on time.
Almost 30% of the trains in Canada are 15 minutes or more late? What? That's crazy! Bro, who? How?
But they don't publish what metric they use. But anyway, what's really impressive about the Swiss train network is the connection punctuality.
I mean, this is
98.9%
Zurich
of
Flughafen.
trains
Usually this is the Zurich airport. Also, look at the punctuality. 98.9. And 3 minutes is considered late. Good 50 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour, bro. And look at the punctuality in Swiss. And like, this is not just a thing of trains. That's just our culture. We value punctuality so fucking much. There is no such thing as fashionably late. You're either on time or you're late. That's why I'm usually always like 15 to 10 minutes early for anything.
in Switzerland allow their passengers to make their
I once met up with my bestie because we're coming from different train lines to meet. I either take a train and have him wait for like 10 minutes for me, or I take the earlier train and wait 20 minutes for him. I take the earlier train because I don't want to make the other person wait. That's a Swiss mentality. As if a train arriving late is more rare than getting a red character in a gacha. Yeah. Exactly.
their connection, which is amazing. After all, arriving at home 5 minutes late one day isn't really a big deal, but just missing your connection to a train
A little bit early too,
is
yeah. Because if you're early, you show respect to the other person that you value their time. If you're late, you show absolute disregard for the other person's time. And that's just disrespectful.
minutes is much worse. But enough statistics and graphs. What is it actually like to to take the train in Switzerland.
Oh, I probably have some more insight because I took a lot of trains. I've been commuting by train since I'm like 9 or 10 years old. Yes, by myself. Well, by myself with my big sister, who was only like 3 years older. But like we were taking trains since we were kids by ourselves. So I've seen the good and the bad of trains.
Well, first of all, the trains are really nice. Every train I took was modern, clean, and comfortable.
Okay. That only applies to the daytime trains. The trains in between commutes are super clean, super pretty, amazing. Look fresh out of the factory. But the early morning commute trains are disgusting. Like if you take a train at like 6 or 7 a.m., those are absolutely gross. And the ones after rush hour in the evening, those trains are disgusting. Sticky shit on the floor because somebody spilled a drink. Someone pissed over the toilet. There's scratches over the windows from some stupid punky teenagers who scratched it with their coins or whatever. Like, I had to take a morning train to school, to the school in Bern. Every morning. I took a 6 a.m. train. First of all, super overcrowded. Most of the time, I didn't even get to sit in the morning. And it's just gross. People are gross. Also, sometimes you see a morning drinker. If you know what I mean. Also, to take a bus to work, and even though I signaled it, the driver didn't stop. Wow. That's shit. But yeah, trains being pretty and clean or whatever heavily depends on the time. But in the daytime trains, like the ones you see from like, I don't know, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., those are fucking clean. Also, it also heavily depends on which line you take. Like the main line between like Bern and Zurich, absolutely gross trains. Would not recommend. But the research trains, like the one I have for my village, that's a fucking neat train. I fucking love my local train, okay? I fucking love my local train. And the buses are super clean too. But when it gets... Okay, mostly it's just the trains that connect to the major cities. The trains that connect to Zurich, Bus, or Bern are fucking gross. But the regional trains, especially those in the Alps, are fucking awesome.
In the mountain regions, there are even trains with windows like this.
Yeah, panorama windows.
And you definitely want to get a good view when the landscape looks like this.
This is why riding trains in Switzerland is so awesome. Like, wherever you go by train in Switzerland, you always have a great view. Like, always. The bus was empty and it was no service because it wasn't saying out of Prague.
There are also tourist trains like the Glacier Express that are even better, but more about...
Yeah, I never took the Glacier Express. I really gotta take that one time. Because, I don't really have the money. Like, as nice as Swiss trains are, it's pretty expensive. There is, a thing called the 𝗟𝗃, general subscription, which just lets you ride everything without buying a ticket. But it's expensive and it's only worth it if you actually commute regularly. What I have is a half tax, which just lets you buy tickets at a kid's price, basically. And even if that train commutes are expensive. Like, if I take a train to Bern from where I live, that costs me roughly $10. It's a half-hour ride. Like, if I want to go to Zurich, that costs me like 15 to 20, it depends. Depends if I go over Bern or another city. I almost stalks myself. It is expensive. Like, my bestie has to commute with train to work. And he has a 𝗓𝗃𝗲𝗃 subscription. And he truly benefits from that. But I barely commute. I barely even benefit from the half tax, by the way. I barely go outside. But still, it's very expensive. Also, my $10 ticket to Bern, that's with the half tax. If I didn't have that, it would cost me around $20. Took a train one time and the train conductor was saying, running about the next stops, but it was my stop. He said, wow.
That later. But even the regular intercity train.
Yeah, this is a restaurant card. You get these on the main line and they're mostly main line in the morning and during lunch. Mostly during lunch. Like a midday commute. And it's fine, like you can buy sandwiches and get some coffee. Also, they're not first class, the restaurant cards. They are for everyone. I'm not sure how it is now because I only have been to restaurant cards as a kid. Maybe nowadays they charge you a bit extra to sit there, but when I was a kid I didn't. You could just go there. But this is mainly for the very long commutes.
Trains are great. I want you to look at this scene for a moment. How freaking civilized is this?
Yeah, trains are fucking awesome.
Can you seriously tell me you'd rather sit in traffic on a highway, confined to your seat, with a belt, constantly needing to pay attention, with no way to comfortably eat or even take a piss, instead of this?
Yeah. I don't drive. I don't have a car. And if I need to go somewhere by car, I just tell my dad to drive me. And when you take the Autobahn, there's nothing interesting to look at. Unless you drive towards the mountains and you see the mountains come closer. But there is nothing interesting to look at. Just like these, not driving is kind of understandable. I mean, I would also not drive if I lived in Germany with their shitty Deutsche Bahn. I would still not drive there. But like, I think everyone would prefer a Swiss train over a car commute. So places wouldn't need to drive. Yeah. Like, even in Switzerland, you still need a car if you live very countryside. Like, I live in a small village, right? I mentioned that before. But I'm well enough connected to not need a car. But also, the train and bus in my town are only hourly. So if I want to go somewhere outside of my town, I have to really plan this. I can have spontaneous trips. So if I would want spontaneous trips, I would need a car. But since I don't go outside because I'm a fucking stinky Vtuber, it's all fine. But like if you live really country, you need a car. But it only matters if you actually go outside. Like, I grew up in a very small village with barely 1,000 people, and that's between 2 villages at once. It only has a population of 2 neighboring villages. So my actual town probably had like 500 people. And we had a bus every half hour. Even in a small town of 500 people, I would not need a car. I even rode my bike to the neighboring bigger town for stuff. I think that's also the thing. Swiss roads, like even if you don't have a car, they are safe to cycle. Is the thing. So unless you have a spontaneous or a long ass commute, you just don't need a car, ever. Like if you go for example furniture shopping or whatever, you can just rent a car or have it delivered to you. Like the big shelf I built together last week that I posted on Blue Sky and Discord. I had it delivered to my house. Not house, to my apartment. Because I didn't want to bother my dad with the car. Wish all roads were like that in the US. Where some roads have dedicated areas. I mean, most roads in Switzerland also just have painted bicycle gutters. As not just bike spots it. Which is just some yellow paint or whatever on the side of the road. But the thing is, in Switzerland, we actually respect other people. So even in those gutters, it's safe to cycle. Like, my very small village where I grew up had one single road going through the thing. And it just has one lane in each direction and painted bicycle gutters. And even when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I rode my bike down that road, no issue. There was one situation, you know those small children pedal cars? The cars where you can pedal and they move forward and shit? I had one of those when I was a kid. I think this was when I was 4 or 5. But like I was just allowed to roam the village. And the village's built was on a hill. And I just dragged this car all the way up the hill on the main road and then drove it down the main road. I blocked the entire main road because I wanted to drive a car on the road. Nothing happened. But it's funny to think back. You need delivery if you have a way to pick it. I mean, that's fair. But also consider that when you pick it up yourself, you have to consider gas costs and all that shit. And if your car is even big enough, if your car is not big enough, you have to rent a bigger car or a trailer. So it doesn't really matter. Maybe for Guinness, yeah. But yeah, I rode my bike on the main road of my village, which has a lot of through traffic. Because my village was right in between a bigger town, which is actually the town I lived in before I moved here, and another bigger town. Both of these towns have a train station that are actually connected to the main line. And my village is in between, so we get a lot of through traffic between those two towns, right? But it was still safe to cycle on the main road. If it doesn't cost, you can control the transport. This really does work. Delivery always works in Switzerland. I can sometimes order groceries if I don't feel like going down to town.
I refuse to believe that there's any better way to travel than on a train like this one.
Yeah, it's just since a
I was
crate.
also impressed at how many trains had level boarding and direct access to wheelchair.
Yeah, it depends. Some train stations aren't updated yet, but most places in Switzerland have level boarding. I know, I don't remember how long ago, but in the last like 10, 15 years in Bern, they worked on all the train platforms to make them level boarding. Like if you go to Bern, every tram has level boarding. And I don't know if the buses do, but they go down on the door side if they need to. And trains are mostly level boarding as well. My local train is level boarding too, but the buses are not.
Areas and accessible restrooms.
Also, disabled friendly bathrooms in every single train. Except like the really old ones. But most modern trains have disability friendly bathrooms. In the morning they're full of piss.
Switzerland is making a concerted
In the
effort
morning
to
and at
ensure
night they're full of
transport
piss.
remains accessible to everyone. And every station I visited had ramps or elevators too. Though, as I was filming my walk to my connecting train, I wasn't expecting to see this guy take the escalator.
Yo, this dude is goated. Who needs an elevator if you can just do this with your wheelchair? What? Look at this absolute goat. Let's go.
Damn. Individual train trips in Switzerland can be quite expensive, but for residents, it's quite common to have half price or regional travel.
Yeah, it's what I mentioned before, the half tax. Half price, I guess is proper translation. But it's called the halb tax, so half tax.
Cards loaded onto a Swiss.
I have one of these.
And some people are even provided.
By the way, the Swiss pass counts for trains, trams, buses, and boats. It goes for boats as well. Funny quirk about my village. It is a village right next to a river. And we have a boat during summer between two cities. And in summer you can take this boat as a slow as commute. Which I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do that this summer. Just take a boat to the city. And yeah, we have a lot of lakes and rivers. A lot. Like, I literally live in a region that's called the Lakelands. Oops, I doxed myself.
Limited travel card by their employer. For most of the week, I traveled second class, and in every case, this was...
Second class is totally fine. Honestly, if you come to Switzerland and want to take the train, second class is fine unless it's rush hour. In the morning and the evening, don't take a train or go first class. Because shit is so full. You won't be able to sit unless you get in first. It's even worse for trains that have multiple stops and you're in a middle stop. Then it's already full when you get in. That shit is so ass.
More than good enough.
Like the train that I always had to take in the morning to school. It came from Alton, one of the biggest train hubs in Switzerland. So it was already fucking full when I got in. When I had to get on. Like, that shit was horrible. So yeah. Only if you have a midday train, take second class, otherwise first class. Also, look how pretty this is. Also, first class is fucking comfy as fuck.
4 days, I bought a countrywide travel pass for first class, just to see the difference. Thank you, Patreon supporters. First class is an upgrade, but it's not significant and probably not worth the price unless the route you're taking is
Then this is public transport. It's to be expected. Yeah.
really busy.
Like, you even see, like, fancy dressed people take the train. Like, that's how everyone uses trains is. Because they had to take another seat because people were occupying it. Yeah.
However, some of the trains have business zones like...
Dude, the business zones are so fucking goated. I once sat in a business zone just because why not? I didn't have a ticket for it. I did that a lot actually. Like when the train was too full, I just sat in first class. Because I'm basic that. And they just said I had mobility issues when asked to leave. And that I need to sit. I was a base child, okay? But yeah, business zones are the absolute goat of trains. Like, oh my god, if you had a chance to sit there, do it.
this one that are extremely comfortable.
They're
And I was
so
able
fucking
to get a few
comfy.
hours of work done while in transit too.
Also, funny thing, you see it here, almost, or pretty sure. But in every modern train, every single seat has an outlet. Or every single section of the train. Every table has an outlet, basically. Even in the non-business zones. Like, even second class has outlets everywhere.
There's a famous quote by the former mayor of
You can see the outlets right here. These are outlets everywhere. They're usually up here, but sometimes they're under the table. Sometimes, but usually they're up here. It is really nice.
A developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It's where the rich use public transport.
This, so much this. I fucking love this quote. Because if rich people take the trains, they actually know how to make it better. Like, that's the thing with America, right? Nobody except the poor take the train, right? Nobody except the poor or the disabled take the train. That's why they're so garbage. Because the rich people who could improve the system don't know what's wrong. Because people are using it, so it's gonna be fine, right? It says so many countries have such garbage train and public transit. Because the rich people who could influence for better change don't use it.
Transportation, and that is absolutely the case in Switzerland. When I was traveling first class,
Yeah, here, just some business dudes in the train. You don't see that in most other countries. The things I want to do in my life is vacation in a long-term train ride. Like a luxury train. Luxury trains are a scam. Gotta be honest. I was in a luxury train once. It's
I routinely saw well-dressed people and professionals like this who opened their laptop to debrief after a business meeting. I believe that having wealthy people
Look at this shit. This shit is awesome. It's going from Bern to Frankfurt to Germany. Hell yeah. It's happening in Bern next. Let's go.
take public transportation is important because, for better or for worse, these people are likely to have the power and political influence to demand efficient service.
Yeah, people with political influence should take trains. It's like an airplane more than a train with those seats. Yeah, shit is so comfy.
For planning your journey,
Oh, the SUP app. It's a good app, but I have one issue. I once bought a wrong ticket on accident with the app. And you can actually connect it to your bank. So it instantly pays automatically without any input. And I have the connection, obviously. And when I bought a ticket, I accidentally bought the wrong one. And it took me 4 to 5 hours to manage to get a refund. Because obviously I couldn't take the train that already left. And the train left like 10 minutes ago, but I still had it open from when I was looking for connection on my phone while at home. So it took forever to get a refund. It's only $10, so I don't give a shit. But my god, that was a pain in the ass. But the app is super good. One issue I have though is because most people use the app now, cities start to get rid of ticket machines. Like for example, Bern, my dad told me this. But I want to get rid of like tram and bus ticket boxes, ticket machines. Which is stupid. That is really stupid. Like, what do you do if your phone is dead? And what do the people who don't understand how phones work, like boomers or tiny children, supposed to get tickets? Like, that's just dumb. That's just stupid. They really want to get rid of ticket machines in Bern. And I don't get why. This is important, yeah. Like, the majority uses the app, sure. But not only are the people still using the tickets, what do you do if the app doesn't work? Like, that's just dumb.
SBB app is fantastic. You choose your route and it shows you exactly how long it's going to take and where you need to change.
Yeah, this is why the app is coded. It shows you every little detail. It even tells you how long it takes to change platforms on the train station. It literally tells you that.
With a list of every station.
And tells you where exactly the train is on the route. Like, it's right here. It was in Tech now. It's halfway to Alton. Like, it shows you, and it moves. It's real-time updating. And that's why the app is so fucking goated. Like, that's also how, like, if you take a route you usually take, and you know the train is going to be late, you can check how far behind it actually is. And make an educated guess based on that. That shit is goated. We just have no problem, but getting rid of ticket machines is not something they should do, yeah.
Between. And it will even show you the layout of the station and the exact path between platforms.
This happens for people who are not familiar with the train stations. But yeah, I never used that.
Changing trains doesn't get any easier than this. Here is an example of a typical train trip. One of the many.
Okay, let's see how typical this train trip actually is. As someone who commuted for over 20 years by train. Let's see how typical this is.
Many I took during my week in Switzerland. In any other country, I'd be worried about taking a trip with this many changes. But when you're likely to catch a connection,
Nah, computer is having an issue.
It's not a problem.
Is right with that. Only on very few occasions you'll miss a train.
Here I look at my first connection. The app shows me where I need
Oh, this is also something. That's not just an app thing. They also showed it on the actual platforms. They showed the expected capacity of each card. They showed the expected capacity, in which sector they stop, and everything else. It's so good. That's why when I take the train home, I should go to the furthest away card, because nobody can be asked to walk back there. That's why that one is the most empty. The whole train is like 200 meters long, by the way, that I need to take home from Bern. And I walk all the way to the back because nobody else can be asked. And the ones in front are always completely full.
Platform for my train, as well as an estimate of how big.
Here, Sector G is always in the back. Like, the train I have to go goes back to Sector M, actually. And yeah, you see, in the back, pretty much empty. Okay, this is first class, but point still stands. Point still stands.
Tells me exactly where I need to get off to.
Oh, Interlaken. If you go to Switzerland, I can recommend visiting Interlaken. It's very pretty.
Going to. And I get a notification when we're getting close.
Yeah, I never turn notifications on.
Because I know exactly where I'm arriving and which platform I need to get to. This is an older.
It is an old regional train. They are less comfy but still nice. But those are the ones you usually see with scratched windows and shit.
Train, but it's still clean and comfortable. My next train was running almost 3 minutes late, and the app warned me that the connection might not be possible.
Oh, because it's around 3 minutes late, yeah. And the walk to the next thing. Wait. With 3 minutes late, that is 56. That is 6 minute time to move to the next train. In Lauterbrunn is not a big train station. This is so guaranteed. Bullshit! This is guaranteed if you know where to go.
But of course, it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, wait.
And a connection might not be possible. But of course.
Look how small this train station is. You don't need 6 minutes for a transfer.
It was perfectly fine, and I got to my next train with plenty of time to spare. Even when the connection involved a transfer to a bus, it was waiting right outside.
Ah, Postauto. The yellow buses are called Postauto. Postauto. And they're usually the ones that go really countryside. They go to the small 300 people villages kind of buses.
Because the schedules are properly aligned, even to a connecting bus service. So was all of my travel perfect in Switzerland? Well, no.
No. It's not always perfect. Like, even with everything working out, there could always go something wrong. Like, I had trains delay multiple times because someone unalived in front of the train. Like, shit happens. It is the most extreme example, but shit happens. Nothing is perfect.
I took about 24 trains while I was there, and I was unlucky enough, or lucky enough for the purpose of this video, to miss one of my connections. So
actually, unaliving by train is pretty common in Switzerland. It's really sad. We have a high unaliving rate.
What was that like? Well, first, the train was late because of a delay in another country.
This is so based. This is so fucking based. When a train is late, Switzerland says why. It's in another country. It always is. It fucking always is. Unless it's an unaliving thing. It's fucking delayed from another country, I swear to God. These are the only two options that exist.
Ooh.
Or the weather.
Switzerland throwing Italy under the bus. I mean, train.
Italy's trains are actually getting better. Like, Italy's trains aren't perfect, but they're good. But definitely better than Germany's trains.
But from what I've been told, many of the Swiss trains that are late because they're coming from another country. So this
Wait, is this a Deutsche Bahn train? No.
So anyway, my train was late. And
I thought it was Deutsche Bahn.
Now,
the app tells you almost everything about an incoming train. Yeah.
There have been.
And you can even just check the connections of your homies that take another route to meet. Like, it's really nice.
Many times in my life where I've been driving between cities.
By the way, highways look the exact same in Switzerland, just with some mountains in the background. But it's the exact same view. It's absolute garbage.
And I end up being half an hour late or an hour late or more because of unexpected car traffic. This is just a normal part of travel, especially in places with no alternatives to driving. But being stuck in stop-and-go traffic...
The only difference is between Swiss highways is we have way less traffic because we have trains. That's the only difference we have. There's still, you know, accidents and congestion and all that shit, but way less severe than, for example, North America.
Traffic like this sucks. It sucks a lot, and I hate it. When I missed my connection in Switzerland, I was in a...
ELS. That's my regional train line. That's my regional train line. BLS is going around in Bern and surrounding. It also goes to Solothurn and further south into the mountains. But it's mostly just Region Bern. Region Bern.
Tiny town of only 13,000 people. But while I waited, I was able to grab something to eat. And I stepped outside to enjoy the view.
Yeah. Like, if you take a route countryside, missing the train isn't so bad. I had that happen a lot. We just was too slow for the transfer or was stuck at the store or whatever. If you travel countryside or lakeside, having to wait half an hour for the next train isn't bad. Not at all.
When you drive in traffic, you don't really know how long it's going to be, and it's stressful and frustrating. This delay was the exact polar opposite of that. In fact,
I don't know where that is. It is either Berner Oberland or 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃, but I'm not sure.
really enjoyable break.
Looks more like
I
𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗃𝗃𝗃.
wonder how much better the world would be if people's travel delays were like this instead of like this. It just blows my mind that even a delayed train trip in Switzerland was better than almost any intercity driving trip I've ever done in the US or Canada. And can I just point out that this town of 13,000 people...
Spiez! I know where it is! It's in Berner Oberland, which is the south of Bern.
But the best part about traveling in Switzerland was that whenever I got to my destination, no matter where it was always a short walk.
Oh, this place. Yeah, it's beautiful. Dude, I love my country. It's so fucking pretty.
Tram trip or gondola journey directly to where I wanted to go. Because every Swiss city, town, and village is designed properly.
This is in front of Basel train station. When you get over the train station, this is what you see. Instantly trams everywhere. And like I've seen some pictures and videos about American or Canadian train stations, they sometimes have not even a bus connection to the train station. And you have to go to the train station by car. What's the point of the train station then? Like, bro.
To be mixed use and walkable.
Awesome. Oh! Fantasy Puzzle! That is Swiss Comic Con! I just now noticed because of the logo over here. Fantasy Puzzle is Swiss Comic Con. So it was there in spring. Fantasy Puzzle is in April, May. Probably, no, it's in May, I think. Fantasy Bus is where I won my first Mario Kart tournament.
This was the very first time that I returned to the Netherlands after a trip abroad and didn't think to myself, oh,
Yeah, this is
finally,
Zurich,
back
I
to
think.
civilization.
Or Basel.
It's
No, it's
easy to feel
Basel.
that way when coming back from a trip to North America because everything is just so terrible there by comparison.
Bro, this just looks sad. Honestly, this looks depressing as shit. Virginia Director Convention Center. They had okay, to go to Fantasy Plaza, I would need to take the train to the bigger town, then take their train to the next city, then from there take the train to Alton, and then from there take the train to Basel, and then in Basel I take the tram to the convention center. They don't have a train line directly to the convention center, but a tram line to there. And it's same in Bern as well. We have the Bea Expo Center, which is in Bern-Wankdorf, which is the eastern part of Bern. And you can just take either the bus or tram or train there, because Wankdorf has its own small train station as well. But still somehow more convenient than what we have in the US. How would you get to the convention? Just wondering. How would it look like for you where you live to get to a convention? Is it just drive or get a taxi and that's it? Like, that's also one thing. Like, American car centric design wouldn't be so bad if they wouldn't have surface parking lots. Like, what about underground parking lots? Just saying. I need to watch a video about American urbanism and react to that because I have a lot to say. The place is surrounded by highways on all sides. The traffic is real bad since the airport is closed. Okay, that's something I never understood about American cities. Is why the fuck do they have highways going through the city? The only Swiss city who has that is Zurich, and that's why it's such a garbage city. And even then, in Zurich, it's underground. They probably, but here in Detroit, we have pretty solid buses. In Detroit is doing pretty decent with buses. Yeah, I heard about that. Streets look very neat. No, they don't. What if America's issue is no. That's bullshit. America's not too big for public transit. Or for stopping highways at the edge of town. No. Absolutely not. Yeah, I know the racist history of American city design, yeah. Like, when it comes to public transit, it's mostly regional. Switzerland and Japan as well. Most have the luxury of being small countries, right? But, like, if you would tackle American public transit, like, just state-wise, well, some are a bit bigger, but yeah. No, you can't just have high-speed rail for statewide traffic. But then most people airport traffic in cities or smaller areas. But like, cross-country or even cross-state travel makes more sense to be by plane because America is so big. But like you could connect, for example, Philadelphia, New York with high-speed rail. As example, make a commute between the cities like, I don't know, 20 minutes. Or even shorter than that. Or have Houston and Dallas connect with high-speed rail and have a shorter commute between those cities. Like, there is no excuse against that. I just have the suburbs be more connected with buses and shit. There's no excuse for that.
But return
I gotta watch a video on American urbanism because oh my god, do I have shit to say.
was different. Everything just seemed a bit less polished. Despite getting on a recently renovated train back to Amsterdam Zuid, it still seemed kind of rickety and noisy compared to the train I left in Zurich. And I
That
almost
trains
missed
look
my train
nice.
because I forgot
I like the
to activate
design.
the card before boarding. It was only at this point that I realized I hadn't gone through a fare gate for
Wait, train stations in other countries have fare gates? I know Japan has, but that's because they're such a busy city. What? It's just just get on the train. It's so easy to get on the train. I sometimes forgot to buy a ticket when I was a kid.
a train the whole time I was gone.
I can't say my country does since 2020 or so. Oh, okay.
Which was really
Weird.
nice. Dutch cities are pretty great, and that's an
Dude, one thing I'm so jealous of the Netherlands is their bike infrastructure. I would love to bike more, but even though it's safe to cycle on Swiss roads, I'm too anxious for that. So I'd love what the Netherlands have in that regard.
understatement, and cycling is certainly better here than anywhere in Switzerland. And
It is because fare dodging is a thing. Maybe to a station that had a fare gate. Mega stations might have those. Definitely the subways have them. Yeah, it's just the only public transit that has a fare gate are boats. Those are the only ones, I think. Plus, I haven't been on a boat in a long time.
I talked about that in a previous video. But there's something to be said.
Seed Glocka! Remember our cryptid talk? Remember our cryptid talk that we once had? This is the, in quotation marks, ogre statue. Right here. Right here is the ogre statue. The baby fresser. Right here. I used to go around this place like every day when I lived in Bern for a short while. Like I lived in a city once. And this tram was my connection to the city from the outskirts. Because right around this corner in this direction, like over here, is the old town where all the shops are. And there was a GameStop. Obama blocked Amtrak expansion because it would have used the American truck, could have upset the American Trucking Association. It is, despite it being a potential 85 million boost with GDP and building the trains and stuff. Yeah. Trains are so much more efficient for transporting goods. That's why, for example, when there's stuff that needs to be transported from Italy to Germany, they usually, not always, but usually, transfer the load onto a train, have that train go from the Italian border to the German border, and then unload it there onto a truck in Germany. That's extremely common here. Also, trucks should be short distance. Like, we have trucks everywhere as well, but they're short distance. But we get it to major hubs through train. Because it's more efficient than have it dispersed with trucks. Because trucks are inefficient in long distance transport. Also, yeah, this is 𝗍𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. Very nice place. Can recommend. I was there recently again. It's so pretty.
Sad about a country that is so well set up with high quality, punctual.
Also, if you're an American and visit Switzerland and are in this place, right outside the camera over here is McDonald's, so you can feel at home.
Public transportation that is traveling.
I'm sorry I had to do that.
This carefree transportation felt like true freedom, more so than any car-dependent place I've ever been. Of course, one of the things they definitely don't have here in the Netherlands.
Glacier Express,
so one
yeah.
of the highlights of my trip was taking the Glacier Express, a scenic train.
I really gotta take the Glacier Express.
Beautiful views in the Swiss Alps.
Also, one thing, you see it a little bit here, but Switzerland has a pretty healthy biker culture, by the way. It has a pretty decently sized biker culture. And they just bike through the mountains. We should know how to market Switzerland.
I made a whole other video about what it's like to take the Glacier Express, and you can watch it now on.
The town I lived in before I moved here had a small biker gang of like 5 people. But like it's really just people who love bikes, not actual gangs, you know? And I sometimes heard them riding down the road. It was fun.
Nebula. Nebula is the Streamy award-winning service that was created by and for educational video creators like me.
This was a good video, and I think I could say a lot of things.
Completely ad and sponsor free, and there's extra content like my Glacier Express video, as well as videos from over 150 other creators on.
But yeah, I really gotta take the Glacier Express sometime.
History, media analysis, creative writing, and more. I legitimately enjoy Nebula, and I watch content on there almost every day. You can sign up to Nebula directly, but it's actually cheap.
I follow a few Nebula people, but not enough to be worth a Nebula subscription.
Stream is a streaming service for professionally produced educational and documentary films.
But a lot of people who post on Nebula are really good YouTubers with fun and interesting content. Can recommend it.
About Engadin, a wilderness preserve in the
One of the forest preserves in Switzerland. Especially when I do my biking. Oh, we have forests everywhere. I literally have a forest in my backyard, basically. Actually, 2 forests. One on top of the hill and one on the other side of the road. They are everywhere.
If you sign up at curiositystream.com/notjustbikes or with the coupon code notjustbikes.
Actually, the next video in the playlist is a video about biking in Switzerland. How convenient!
Which is about as much as a ticket from Zurich to Basel if you don't have a travel card.
The bus is only 1 hour, yeah.
Here or in the description. I'd also like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay me to.
Also, I just love his channel, Not Just Bikes. Very good content. I've been watching his content for like 3 or 4 years. It's really good and very informative. But yeah, it's a nice segue, yeah. But yeah, but this was a 16-minute video. We talked like over an hour about other stuff. I think I'm becoming good reaction. I guess I'm more of a commentary streamer. I'm being one of the good reactions. I actually say things. Yeah, being certain, yeah. But yeah, I might do more of those because this is really fun. But yeah, before we go to the next video, which is gonna be the last one for today, probably. Because the next videos are like half an hour long. Tips, you know about the subject you're talking about, yeah. But like, even with subjects I don't know much about, I probably had a lot to say. Probably. But yeah, we do a short piss break. And yeah. Then we watch another Not Just Spikes video about cycling in Switzerland. So yeah, I'll be right back. Hi, did everyone piss? We're gonna do one more video. And maybe I'll do the other videos next week because I'm having fun with this. It's really fun to comment on videos. But we'll see, we'll figure it out. And we had a nice segue into cycling. How cycling is in Switzerland. So, Not Just Bikes has a video about that. So we're gonna watch that now. It's a 20-minute video, but I have a bit less to say. Because I don't really cycle much. And he mainly talks about cycling in the cities. And when I cycle, it's usually countryside. But still, it's Switzerland. So let's watch.
Switzerland is known for its trains and exceptional public transportation, and it really is exceptional. With regular train service to towns so small, they wouldn't even justify regular bus service in many other countries. But what you might not know is that there are several cities.
This is your usual suburban road in Switzerland. This is what a Swiss suburb looks like. If anyone was curious, this is a Swiss suburb.
Cities in Switzerland where you'll see a surprising number of people cycling. So while I was in Switzerland a few weeks back checking out those sweet, sweet trains, I also visited several cities to see what it's like to cycle there. In this video, we'll look at the state of cycling in Basel, Zurich, as well as one other town.
Not always. You see that bridge in the top right? That's a bridge in Bern. I know exactly which bridge this is because my dad's office is close by. And it doesn't have cycling. They added some now, I think. I'm not sure. But there's another similar bridge further west that has an entire cycling lane.
Town you've probably never heard of and determine.
Also, this video is over a year old now, and it changed a lot, specifically in Bern. I can only talk about Bern because I never go to Basel or Zurich. So I can only really talk about the Bern portion in this video.
Which is the best city for cycling in Switzerland? I spent a full week in Switzerland and I traveled to over a dozen cities and towns, so you'll see some future videos about that over the next few weeks.
The brown train.
While I was there, I got around by public transportation. To be honest, I'm really not much of a cyclist and...
Basel is pretty. Look at this. There's just some random spot in Basel. And it's so pretty.
If there's a choice between taking a bike or taking a tram, I'll take the tram almost every time.
There's one. Okay, have fun.
Bike when I'm in the Netherlands, but that's because it's the quickest and most convenient way to get around, which is why most people cycle.
Yeah, definitely.
But when I'm in Switzerland, I take trains.
This is 𝗟𝗃. This is 𝗟𝗃𝗏𝗃 where we were before in the last video with the baby statue. This is what it looks like on the other side of the camera shot he had in the last video. Like, now the McDonald's is on this side. And so on. This is just the exact opposite side. And it's I don't like the crossing at all. It's horrible.
I'm always being told by ignorant suburbanites that the only reason people cycle in the Netherlands is because it's flat.
Oh, this is so cap. That is so absolute cap. Like, yeah, cycling is more easier when it's flat, obviously. But Literally just yesterday when I walked up the hill from the grocery store, I saw a literal Dutch cyclist ride up the hill next to me. It was a Dutch cyclist, funny enough. So, yeah, people cycle in hilly places as well.
Switzerland is, of course, a pretty hilly.
This is more bent. This is, again, 𝗪𝗏. 𝗪𝗏 is such a pretty place. The only problem is all the cars. But yeah, if you were at 𝗪𝗏, I recommend going down this road. Or one further back than this one. Because that's where it's calm, no cars, no traffic at all. Just walkable foot traffic. If you ever go to 𝗪𝗏, go through the corn house. This building here. Just go through these doors and then the road in the back. It's such a nice road to go to. Such a nice street. Can highly recommend it.
Country, so if those people were correct, which of course they never ever are.
Wait, this is Basel. Fuck.
Cycle here, but they do.
Same thing applies. No, wait. No, he labeled this wrong. Yeah, he labeled it wrong. He labeled it as Basel, but this is Bern. Oh, he made an oopsie. Because I see the baby freezer here. And this is the red bus number 10. That goes to Ostermundigen. I know this place. He made an oopsie. Because 𝗪𝗏 is right behind these buildings. This is a corn house. Back here is the bridge that you showed in the 4 pictures. Mr. Notice Spikes, I found a mistake in the video. This is not Basel.
It was Basel. Now, I had been to Switzerland many times.
This is
before,
Basel,
but I had
though.
never come here, and wow, this city.
Maybe the
absolutely
info
beautiful.
card was just too early.
And
Also, the captions aren't on. I'm sorry.
trams, so many trams. But I'll save that topic.
Yeah,
for
Basel has a lot of
video.
trams, and I love that.
I didn't have to look very far to find dozens of bicycles.
I just see this around every train station, every big city. Or even just big town. Like even smaller towns, the train station is just full with bicycles.
Parked because this street was just around the corner from the station. And there were several people cycling nearby, though it looked pretty scary to me.
Yeah, these are the bicycle gutters. They are everywhere. And it is scary, that's why I don't cycle. But it is safe. Because car drivers actually respect you. In Switzerland. They actually respect you.
To me. One thing that's pretty consistent in Basel is that there isn't really much bicycle infrastructure.
I don't know how much Buzz improved since this
Though
video.
some of the newer infrastructure is starting to look much better.
But yeah, Buzz
There
is
were also some
always
dedicated turning
improving.
lanes for bicycles like this one. The main approach to cycling, though, is modal filters, like this, that make intersections accessible to people cycling, but not for drivers.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you see a lot of intersections and whatever, where everything is so built that a car can take a turn as quickly as possible. And that's just not the case here. Cars have to take the long way around most of the time.
These modal filters align with low-traffic residential streets called 𝗪𝗏straßen, which are the main
Yeah,
cycling
𝗪𝗏straße.
lanes on major roads.
This only allows people who live here and service vehicles. Nothing else. Otherwise, it's just foot and bicycle traffic.
These 𝗪𝗏straßen make up the majority of the cycling network, and there are wayfinding signs like these for people cycling. A lot of the bicycle infrastructure is not great, however.
Yeah, but you see a lot of these in the more outskirty areas of the cities. Actual separated bicycle paths.
And it does result in conflict
I can probably
between
show
people
it later,
cycling
but
and people
My favorite road in Bern has these as well.
traffic. Though on several streets, traffic volume
Isn't it fucked up what we have? Yeah, the thing is, Switzerland never went car dependent. So this isn't actually that hard to implement better cycling infrastructure. Because we always had more public transit.
were low enough that I saw more people on bicycles than in cars. And on the streets that had basically no car traffic, I saw quite a few families cycling together too.
You can find cyclists everywhere.
The hills didn't really seem to deter people very much. For example, there were a lot of people cycling up this steep bridge. See if you can spot the people who have e-bikes. I find that cargo bikes meant for kids, like this 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, are an indicator species for a healthy cycling culture.
Yeah, cargo bikes or bicycle trailers, I have seen all the time. Forever. Like, I'm almost 30 years old. I've seen them when I was a kid around. I see them even more around now. So, yeah, that's a good indicator that it's always safe to cycle.
Because people don't ride bikes like this, especially with children in them, unless it's relatively safe to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
And I saw quite a few kids cycling on their own bikes too.
You don't cycle on the main road with your kids if it's not safe enough. The thing is, you have really slow cars, relatively slow cars in cities.
There were a surprising
So it's
number of
always
Dutch-style
relatively
bicycles,
safe.
which shows that many people are using bicycles for everyday transportation. But as you would expect, given the hills, there were a lot of e-bikes too.
Yeah, if I get this bicycle again, I probably get an e-bike because I live on top of a hill. And I have to go down the hill to go grocery shopping and then walk back up. And it's ass. I might get an e-bike if I can afford it.
You definitely see people doing their daily errands by bicycle, so it's not just commuting trips.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like, there's still a lot of commuters who go by car or for big trips, where they have to transport a lot of stuff. But most small trips, like going to meet friends, going shopping, going to an appointment, or whatever, they are done on foot, on public transit, or on bicycle. Because the streets are so safe.
In general, Basel does a pretty good job of keeping cars out of the city center.
Yeah, that's one thing when I'm jealous about Basel, because Bern has a problem with cars, but it gets to that. Because of one specific road.
There were many signs,
one specific street,
marking the street off limits to motor vehicles, but with bicycle traffic permitted. And I was pleasantly surprised to see streets and even bridges like this one, where only walking, cycling, and public transit are permitted.
That's so biased.
This leads to a lot of lively street life with a remarkable number of people out on the street, especially when you consider that this is a city with a population of only about 170,000 people. This is the nicest downtown street in my home.
Okay, that's pretty as fuck. God damn, is that pretty? That stonework is amazing. God damn.
This is a typical amount of people you'd see out on a nice summer's day.
Typical amount on a summer day? Are you serious? Nobody's walking here? What? But it's so pretty! There's a prime walking area! Okay, I don't see any interesting shops. But still, why is nobody walking here?
Like this one. Basel has less than half the population of my hometown, but it looks like this all over the city center.
How did nobody walk around in the fucking fake London street? That shit was pretty as fuck.
It really shows
what?
The difference it makes to have a mixed-use walkable neighborhood that strongly discourages car traffic in the heart of the city. And that's not even considering the pedestrianized.
Dude, I love these kind of streets. These streets are the best places in every Swiss city. Every Swiss city has those. Where you only see people on foot, and very rarely you see emergency or delivery vehicles, but nothing else. They are so fucking nice.
That have even more people. You would never see this many people in my hometown unless there was some kind of special festival or something. And what was really nice is that
It is many people just every day in
accessible by
Switzerland.
bus and tram. Trams were coming by literally every few minutes at most tram stops.
Yeah, most tram lines have, at least in the cities, like Basel, Zurich, and Bern, you have a tram for your line probably every 3 to 5 minutes. Unless it's like super early in the morning or super late in the evening. Super late in the evening, you have like a tram every 5 to 10 minutes.
Of course, without separated infrastructure, tram tracks can be dangerous to people cycling.
Tram tracks are dangerous to people. To me.
Especially if the design of the tram stop forces cyclists to ride right.
Yeah, that's a thing. Cyclists often share the lane with public transit, which is fine, but not optimal. Definitely not optimal. Especially in the cities where you have frequent trams and buses.
In the middle of the tracks. So one of the things that Basel is trialing.
This isn't just in Basel, this is in Bern too, and I think Zurich as well. At least now. I don't know how it was 2 years ago.
Is a bicycle-friendly tram track. Now, these
But yeah, they are
a
everywhere.
that can be pushed down by a tram, but not by a bicycle. Pretty cool. So the city center was pretty great, but as you got farther out, you started seeing relatively high-volume roads like this one, with only a painted bicycle
Yeah.
for people cycling.
These roads are
So
ass.
sometimes parallel routes are available for safer cycling. And even out here, there are still some modal filters to keep car traffic out of residential areas, as well as.
The thing is, the outskirts don't need that much infrastructure because there's just less cars around. Just way less cars.
Some one-way residential streets that allow cyclists to travel in both directions. So, unsurprisingly, you'll find most cyclists on the side streets. This intersection had some good infrastructure for people cycling. However, the same intersection in the other direction was not so great.
This is good enough. Gotta be honest, this is good enough. Because you only have to worry about the tram. Then you go over here. When you go across, you have to pay attention to the cars, sure. But you have to do that anyway. This isn't bad. Because these are two side streets connecting, and these ones is a more major street because there's also the tram lines going through. This is totally acceptable. At least in my opinion. Because this isn't anywhere near the city center. This is like suburbs.
I watched this guy wait at a traffic light for at least 3 minutes as the light changed several times, but never went green for him. He eventually gave up and went to the pedestrian crossing.
It is, but that's a traffic light issue. Because we have sensors for bicycle lights most of the time. And sometimes they just don't register you. That just happens. That's a tech issue, not an infrastructure
This guy
issue.
only had to wait about 20 seconds at the same light, but only because the traffic control system detected
Yeah, that's what I said about the sensor, yeah. That's a tech issue, not an infrastructure issue.
the car behind him. Which seemed pretty typical for Basel. There were some things pretty well designed for bikes, but in other ways it was still quite car-centric. I was impressed by the number of bicycles at this grocery store around the corner, though. And there was also this uncovered bicycle parking as well.
We have a lot of bicycle parking. Specifically in stores, train stations, and the city center.
Probably resulted in more parking spaces
Where they
for
should be.
bicycles than for cars. So, does Basel have quote-unquote good cycling infrastructure? Well,
I would say so,
no,
yeah.
not really. It seems that the success of cycling in Basel comes more from a reduction in car traffic rather than high-quality cycling facilities.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing. You don't specifically need to build better infrastructure if you're able to reduce the car traffic. Because like even though there's a car here, it's totally safe to cycle on this side of the road. Because there's also traffic calming measures in the street design, which basically means the street is built in a way that encourages slower driving without forcing slower driving. You don't see that, for example, in America, where they just have wide-ass roads with wide-ass lanes, right? Those encourage speeding. But look how tight these roads are. This is barely enough room to get around without going on the line. Right? This encourages slow-ass driving. So even that way it's safe.
Facilities, an effect you're going to see a lot in this video. This shouldn't be too surprising though, because about 40 years ago, Amsterdam was the same. The city was trying...
Yeah, Amsterdam was the same as North American cities after the Second World War.
...to reduce the number of automobile fatalities as well as car congestion in the city center. Amsterdam became a cycling city almost by accident, because once the streets were safe, people started cycling again. And
yeah, that's the case in Switzerland. Because we have so good public transit, most people don't take the car unless they have to. Most people. There's still people who just love to drive for the sake of driving, and that's fine. But most people only drive a car if they have to. That's why there's so little cars on the road, and it's safe to cycle in without proper infrastructure.
Once people started cycling, they started building more infrastructure for cyclists. Most of what you see here in Amsterdam was built within the last 30 years. It wasn't always like this.
The evolution of Amsterdam is fucking amazing, by the way. If you're not too familiar with it, it's fucking amazing what they did in the last few decades.
If it keeps on this trend, it would not surprise me if Basel becomes one of the most cycling-friendly cities in Europe. It may not be like the Netherlands,
Akami, hi, how are you?
Overtaking a place like Copenhagen in the coming decade. The next city on my list was Bern.
Bern. This here is the government building, by the way. This is the Swiss White House. Basically, the Bundeshaus. This is where the government governs.
The capital of Switzerland.
Fun fact. It is called Bern, the capital of Switzerland, and everyone calls it that. I too. But technically, on paper, Switzerland has no official capital. Everyone just started calling Bern the capital because that's where the government is. But there's some people, specifically in Zurich, who think Zurich should be the capital because it's the international hub of Switzerland. De facto capital, yeah. But like Zurich would be a valid capital because it has the biggest international airport, has the biggest city, and just it's the most visited city as well. Like it's just the international hub, like I said before. So it'd also be a valid capital. Also, it's closer to the founding cantons, so there's that as well. Just right discussing Bern. Poison sake is a sausage when he gets here. Video watches. This is a reference to a previous reaction. You should watch that. But yeah, Switzerland technically has no capital. Also, this is my go-to bus that I take. This is a bus I had to use to commute to another school that I went to. Like I went to 2 different schools in Bern. And this was the ones I took from home to the train station, then another bus from the train station to the school. Very cool.
It was pretty obvious as soon as I arrived that Bern was much more car-friendly than Basel.
Also, this street is the fucking worst. This street is the absolute fucking worst. Wait, let me pull up Google Maps. And to show you how absolute garbage this fucking street is. It still is garbage to this day, even though this video is 2 years old. Hold on. I need to rant about this fucking street. Okay, this is the train station. Wait, yeah. The scene where he's standing around here. And there's a camera pointing this way, right? And this is the worst fucking street in the whole city, I swear to God. The highways don't go through cities, that's how it's like. But yeah, this is the main street through the city. This is a train station right here. This is a train station. Bro, can I turn the things off? But this is a train station. This is where the trams and buses are, this place. This is where the trams go through, right? This is a train station. To go to the trams, you need to cross this fat-ass road. This road has, I think, 4 lanes. For through traffic and buses. Why the fuck do we need through traffic between the train station and the tram stations? Why? Why is that a thing? I fucking hate this bitch-ass street. Like, it gets a bit thicker here because here on this part on both sides it has bus stops, right? So I can get through traffic. But it's still 4 lanes over here because dedicated bus lanes and shit. Why is there a fat-ass road between the train station and the tram station? It's so fucking stupid. It pissed me off when I was a kid. It still pisses me off. There is an underground path. There is. But when you take the bus, okay, it's less about the trams but more about the bus. When you take the bus from this direction, it comes from down here, right? And it stops here. It drops you off on this side. The path to the underground is over here. You would have to walk back to go underground to go to the train station. So you probably just go over here above ground. And that's dumb. That's dumb. I fucking hate this street. And there's so much traffic. Like, when I went to school in this area, like, my school was up here in Hoogveld. And when I was a kid, the bus stopped here and then turned around here. Which is fine, it's totally fine, right? But now, the bus drives all the way up here. And then you have to walk the way back to the old station for the bus to go up here. How shit is that design? I know it's because the bus sign that went just to here couldn't be the bus sign that was just up to here. It fused these 2 bus lines, so it makes sense. But why did I stop up here and not back here? Because now you have to walk by this bitch-ass, busy-ass road to go to the other bus again. It's so ass. I fucking hate this street. This street is so fucking ass. Okay, let's continue the video. I had to rant. I never get to rant about this fucking street. But now I can. And like, this is a street I saw almost every day. So, yeah. I have my issues with it, and it's still the same. It's still the fucking same. Like, even even to this side, on the side of the train station, there's underground. But also off camera on this side is a zebra crossing. But you have to wait like 5 minutes for it to get green. Then you have like maybe 30 seconds to cross. It is so ass. And yet there's the underground thing. It is so fucking ass. I fucking hate that road.
Wide road. Though, to be fair,
Yeah, here's the underground thing. And here's a big ass zebra crossing. Look how fucking fat that is. Also, this is a bus station I talked about that you have to walk to from all the way off the other side of the train station. It is such an assy sight. I love the Bahnhauptbahnhof, the main train station. But the outside is so fucking ass.
there are underpasses under it in several places, but regardless, the level of car traffic here in Bern was noticeably higher.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But at the same time, you see this thing over here? This yellow strip shit? This is a bicycle parking lot. And that's been there all my life, so people cycled here even when it was way worse.
But that didn't seem to stop these people from cycling here.
And yeah, this is what I mentioned before during the buses segment. Bicycles just share the bus lanes, which I think is fine. It's not perfect, but it's fine.
Like Basel, Bern has many streets.
Dude, the side streets in Bern are so pretty. If you visit Bern, just walk through the side streets. Also, I mentioned this in another video, but this right up here is my old school. I went to school exactly up here. And this used to be a game shop. That's some wellness bullshit. But exactly up here was my old school. And on the other side of this is a Burger King. Also, over here is a bookstore where I used to go when I skipped school.
The city center,
Just little fun facts, just showing some stuff. Oh, this part back here has an amazing view of the valley. Like, Bern is really interesting because it has a river basically looping around it. And both sides of the river are uphill, but the river is down in the valley. It's really pretty. Can recommend it. It's so nice in Bern. Like, look at this shit. Like, both the main city and the surrounding city are both on hills. And in the valley is the river. It's so fucking nice.
Bern looked like something out of a fairy tale village.
Dude, fuck this. I knew he was gonna show this. I fucking knew it. This bridge is so fucking ass. Why is there on-street parking on a fucking bridge? Why? I know that right around this corner is a fucking parking lot. You just have to take a corner around here. I know there's a fucking parking lot. Why is there on-street parking on this fucking historical bridge? I fucking hate it. Playing hockey to read One Piece at the bookstore. Yeah, also the bookstore they had a Wii with Mario Galaxy.
Though I don't.
But also, when you go across the bridge, and over here is the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, which is a place where you can look at bears. The icon of Bern. You can watch at bears over here. And if you go a path up here, all the way up here, and you found the Rose Garden, which is my favorite place in the whole city.
I don't remember any fairy tales having cheap subsidized street parking.
Can't recommend going there,
Honestly,
even if the
I
bridge is
have
shitty.
no idea why they allow parking at all.
Look, all the way back there, you can see the sign for the fucking parking garage.
It makes it look pretty treacherous for people trying to cycle in traffic.
Well, to be fair, brick roads aren't really that nice for cycling anyway. At least rough brick roads like this one. So,
Especially when they have signs.
here, fucking parking garage around the corner. Like, this car drives around across the bridge right now, right? We just have to go down here for a fucking parking garage.
For parking garages,
like, bro,
right around the corner.
It's
As
so
I walked to the
stupid.
city center, I saw bicycles parked all over the place, and lots of people coming and going. There was also a crazy amount of public transit, both trams
It's just
and
sick look
trolley
again.
buses, which I think could be overwhelming when cycling. I personally prefer cycling alongside trams because while the tracks can be a nuisance, at least they're predictable.
This is a sick look at
You never know when a bus
crossing again. Look how busy and bullshit this is. It's so hard to cross this. And this is sometimes just walk straight through everything if there's space. I don't give a shit. But like, it is so busy and hard to cross. And sometimes you just have tourists who slander away on this thing, like super slow walk across it. It's so garbage.
right in front of you.
Also, this back here is a casino.
Now, I wanted to see what cycling was like outside.
Wait, let me think where this exactly is. I can't really tell.
Especially where it gets more hilly, which meant that I got to take this cool funicular, and I went out to the end of this tram line. It was nice to see some real proper bicycle infrastructure.
Wait, where is this?
Outside of the city center.
I need to see the streets and to know where exactly this
Not a
is.
lot of people were cycling here because the entrance to this bicycle.
Or see the tram number. If I see the tram number, I know exactly where the fuck this is.
Yikes.
Oh, Austria. Yeah, Austria is garbage. Austria is absolute garbage. I went there as a kid once because I went on the wrong tram. I never went there again. Austria is garbage. It still is. It always has been.
Further along, there were definitely people out on bicycles, especially on the streets that were properly.
Austria is
for
so
cycling.
shit.
Though there are still a lot of places out here where people cycling are expected to ride with car traffic. And if you go too far along this path, you end up here. I wonder why nobody is cycling on this.
Yeah, okay. But who needs to cycle on a road that connects to the fucking autobahn? Green signs are for autobahn, by the way, and blue is for regular road. Nobody's gonna cycle to the road that goes to the fucking autobahn. I'm sorry. If you cycle in this direction, you are just the wrong way. That's just stupid, sorry.
This area was pretty bad.
Seems kind of intuitive. Yeah. Like, if you go this path, why? Why would it go? Why would you cycle on the street that goes towards a fucking autobahn? That is so stupid.
But just around the corner on this.
See, why would you take that fucking autobahn road if you can just take this one?
This residential street, there were quite a few people cycling. As expected, most people on bikes could be found on the side streets.
As they should. Like, I get that main streets need some safety for cycling. But we just need better side streets. Because nobody's gonna cycle on a fucking drive-through road. With through traffic, no. There's just no way to cycle. That's why nobody ever wants to cycle. Even if there is infrastructure.
And
That's even happening in fucking Amsterdam. Like, you have the main roads in Amsterdam, but even there people don't like to cycle. They take the side roads.
other areas away from the main roads where it's safer to cycle.
Also, this is a 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃 this is a really nice art gallery, I would say. Can recommend going there. I was there when I was a kid on a school trip. It was really nice.
While there were a lot of bicycles in Bern,
Yeah, this is a really nice place. This is a 𝗏𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, the Bear Plaza. And this is where always the markets and festivals are held. And there's a lot of nice shops and restaurants around this area. I can recommend going there if you go to Bern.
I didn't see a lot of cargo bikes. I I only saw a few 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 with kids, like this one. Though there were a handful of bike trailers, too.
This is, on this side is the government stuff. On this side is the Bear Plaza. Can really recommend going there. It even has a train station, a tram station, I mean, right here called Bärenplatz. And this right here, this little thing is the train station tram stop.
So I got the impression
It's really
that Bern
close.
was not quite as advanced
You can actually just walk there.
Basel, possibly due to the higher levels of motor vehicle traffic in and around the city center. Though once rush hour hit, I saw.
Yeah, these bridges, I think now have yellow lines on it, but it doesn't really need it in the first place.
A lot of people cycling, so it's clearly a popular commuting option here.
And there's this shit now. There's a lot of more side paths that they made for cycling.
I also managed to see someone traveling home by floating in the river.
Oh yeah, that's very common in Bern during summer, that people commute by river. That is really common in summer. I never did myself because I can't be asked, but it happens a lot in summer. Just floating in the water with a waterproof bag with your stuff in it.
Another commuting option, but one that's.
That's why it's so cool that the river circles around Bern. Wait, do I pull up Google Maps again? Yes, I do. I'm just gonna show a map of Bern again, because I love showing off my home shit. Okay, there we go. Okay, this river is the Aare, and it flows north. And people just, like, if they work around here, they just jump in and then float this way until they have to get out. Like, they can get out here to go to Longas, or stop, get out by this park or bridge or whatever to go to Brenterine, or float all the way up here for Lorraine, and so on. I wonder if somebody commutes by river to go to Fels now, actually. To Blamgarten. I wonder if anybody commutes all the way up here by river. Never thought about that. Probably someone does. And if so, that is hella based, but yeah. That's why the river is so cool. That's why I love the Aare so much. Also, the Aare flows all the way this shit until it goes into the Rhine up here somewhere. Yeah, up here. It goes into the Rhine. The Aare is the second biggest river in Switzerland, and I live on it. I live on this fucking big ass river. Always have. Okay.
Pretty unique to Bern. I also saw this woman surfing the current, which looked hella fun.
Yeah, river surfing is also pretty popular.
So Bern is a beautiful city with.
He really loves showing Seeglocke. He really loves showing this one area. But Bern has so much more pretty areas that also show off the transit.
Public transit and some lively streets. And while it's not exactly a cycling paradise,
But this is Kornausbrücke, by the way, if anyone is
it has
curious.
a lot of bicycle commuters and the potential.
But yeah, this road, this shitty ass road, when you go down the road, actually, in the direction this car is going right now, they improved a lot in the direction it's going. Not the street itself, but the direction it's going. They have, like, overhead street signs to show which lane you have to go for, where to go, right? And they now have a dedicated lane just for cycling that goes all the way to the city, to the edge of the city. It is really nice. Just this fucking bitch-ass road.
Really great cycling city.
It is
If
so
the
ass.
infrastructure on the main roads could be improved.
It has improved since this video came out.
The train station.
A lot.
Grab my suitcase from the luggage locker like I'm Jason Bourne switching passports, and I'm off to the next city, Zurich.
Zurich is the absolute worst when it comes to traffic. Like, there's a stereotype of Zurich not knowing how to drive. And it's accurate. It's absolutely accurate. Because, I don't know the exact statistic, but Zurich is the most likely to speed and go into accidents. That's a stereotype, and it's kind of true.
Now, I've been through Zurich many times, but I haven't been outside of the train station since I was a kid. On that trip, we accidentally ended up in the infamous Needle Park.
Oh, Needle Park. There's a similar place to the Needle Park in Bern. It's called, the 𝗓𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃. It's an old stable house that is now used by junkies. And the Needle Park in Zurich was the same. Zurich still has a pretty big drug problem. But at least it's not a Needle Park anymore.
You can look that up if you'd like to see what...
But if you want to see an absolute garbage building, check out 𝗓𝗃𝗃𝗃 in Bern. It's so garbage. It's full with graffiti. There's just people pushing drugs in there. And it can't be demolished because it's historic or whatever.
Zurich was like in the early 90s.
But you gotta have a good one.
This park have cleaned up a lot since then. Maybe some North American cities should be taking notes. But anyway, what I really know...
But yeah, I gotta be honest, I haven't been in Zurich since, like, the city itself, in like 6 or 7 years. I mean, the last time I was in Zurich was to watch the Sonic movie. Because Zurich is like the only cinema that plays English movies. It's so hard to watch English movies in Switzerland.
What I noticed about Zurich is that there are a lot of cars around. Cars are pretty much everywhere in the city.
Yeah, Zurich is absolute hell when it comes to cars. It is so garbage.
There were queues of cars coming into the center from pretty much every direction. Zurich reminded me a lot of...
To my knowledge, Zurich has the biggest cinema that plays English dub movies.
Where we used to live in Brussels, and that's not a good thing. It's pretty clear that a lot of the city's...
This is the Irish Zurich stream. It's so ass. It is so absolute ass.
Center has not recovered from the 1960s when a lot of European cities were bulldozed to make them more friendly for cars.
Okay, but to be fair, Zurich wasn't entirely bulldozed. It was also bombed by America during World War.
There's a lot of concrete around.
Gotta be fair here. Like, hi, this should work again. Sorry, OBS crashed twice actually. It crashed twice. Okay, but I was just about to say, Zurich didn't bulldoze for the car. It was bombed during World War II by America on accident. So, yeah. To give Zurich some credit, which I don't like to do.
And because almost all of the bicycle infrastructure is just painted bicycle gutters, you don't see nearly as many...
Yeah, do you see how garbage Zurich is? Look how garbage this is. I agree with him here that just paint on the road isn't enough here. Absolutely not enough. This is so garbage.
...as in Basel or Bern. But that doesn't mean that nobody cycles, and there are definitely times when you'll see several people out on bikes.
The people still bike for the small trips or to stay healthy.
The main train
Absolutely.
also had several bicycles parked out front. And more in this covered area around the side. Even an urban arrow...
Take your own risk, yeah. In Zurich, absolutely.
...from this direction was much more pleasant. As you get out of the city center, the roads become wider, but the bicycle...
But yeah, like, who rides a bike in these kind of roads? Who wants to in the first place? Wants to ride a bike in the main streets? Like, even if it's proper infrastructure.
infrastructure is still all painted lines. You do see people cycling here, though not in very high numbers, which is what you'd expect with this kind of infrastructure. So people definitely do cycle in Zurich, but there are only so many people who are willing to cycle with so many motor vehicles.
The other thing is also, like I said before, Zurich is famous for speeding and accidents.
Around.
Just saying.
Despite all that, there's definitely a lot of
It's known for that.
For example,
So that adds to people not cycling as well. The people in Zurich just drive faster than in other cities.
Area next to the train station has undergone redevelopment recently and is now a modern pedestrianized area. This open area, right by the train station, can be used for events, but what's really interesting is what's underneath it. This underground bicycle parking garage.
Yeah.
I was absolutely amazed when I saw that.
I'm surprised you didn't talk about the bicycle garage in Bern, because that one is really good as well.
I knew that there was a parking garage here, but I never thought that it would be this big, or that it would have dedicated parking for cargo bikes, or these electrical connections for charging e-bikes. This was really great to see.
The problem is nobody cycles in Zurich, or not enough. Because the cars just drive so carelessly.
And restrictions on through traffic. Even continuous sidewalks at many of the intersections.
Dude, continuous sidewalks are so fucking goated. For those who don't know, usually in a situation like this, you would have to go down to the road to cross it, right? It would just be flat for the car. But a continuous sidewalk basically turns a sidewalk into a speed bump. So the cars slow down. So it's safe for pedestrians and the bicycles, but mainly pedestrians. Like, that shit is so goated, and it should be everywhere.
I also saw a few of these signs for play streets that are becoming more popular in
Oh, play streets have been everywhere all the time.
parts of Europe.
Well, probably in Europe, but in Switzerland they have always been a thing. At least where I live. To be fair, I mainly lived in villages. But even when I was in Bern, like, I was living on a play street. And it's just really nice. But they have always been everywhere in Switzerland.
But they looked more like driveways to parking.
Yeah, that's the issue with them. Mainly in the cities themselves, like close to city center and close to center suburbs. They look like this, yeah.
It's not exactly the kind of place you'd want your children to play.
That's why if I had kids, I would never raise them in a city. Cities are bad for kids. And that street it just shows why.
All in all, Zurich showed a lot of potential, but it definitely has the farthest to go of any of the cities that I'm talking about in this video.
Oh, Zurich isn't just the worst in this video. It's the worst in the whole country. When it comes to car traffic and cycling and all that shit. It's the fucking worst when it comes to traffic in the entire country. 100% by a mile.
In every city I've ever been to, all around the world, I've seen a direct correlation between cycling safety and the number of people cycling. The hills aren't really a contributing factor, and that has been confirmed by research too.
You don't need research for that. Just look at videos of Switzerland or other mountainous countries.
This was very clear to me in Switzerland, where I saw lots of people cycling in hilly places.
This doesn't even need research.
But I saw almost no one cycling in dangerous places.
Well, yeah, that's the fucking Autobahn road he showed before. This truck is going to the Autobahn right now. Nobody has even a reason to cycle here. Like, not just that it's unsafe, but there's no reason to cycle through here. This intersection is just stupid for cycling in general. There's no purpose to cycle through here.
But beyond safety, I actually think that one of the things that might be holding back cycling the most in Switzerland is not the hills, it's the high-quality public transportation.
Yeah, I said it before. Because the high quality of public transit gets people who don't want to drive a car out of the car. And with that reduces the cars on the street. And that's how you fix traffic. Take notes, America. And like, why cycle through the city if I can just hop into a bus for 1 or 2 stations? Like, he's right. The buses and trams are preventing more cycling. But that's a good thing. That's a really good thing.
It was amazing to me that even in a small city like Basel, there were trams and buses going by every few seconds. So several of my shots were ruined by a passing transit vehicle.
Yeah, that happens.
Cycling is great, but if the service is good, taking the tram or train is often better.
Yeah, people always just take the one method of transportation that is more viable. Like in Switzerland, it's trams, buses, and trains. In America, it's a car because there's nothing else. In Amsterdam, it's cycling. Like, people just go with what's more convenient.
There's a cost associated with it, of course, but monthly travel cards are extremely popular in Switzerland, and some people are even given a public transit subscription by their employer. If you ride a bike, you have to constantly be paying attention. You can't just sit and read a book. You have to worry about where you're going to park it and worry about it getting stolen. And if something goes wrong with it...
Okay, things getting stolen. Barely anything gets stolen in Switzerland. We have barely any pickpocketing. We have barely any bicycle stealing or all that shit. Like, you don't have to worry about shit getting stolen. Not at all. Of course, there's some rare cases where something gets stolen. Like, I've seen bikes without a front tire or whatever. But it is so fucking rare to happen. You never have to worry about that.
You'll need to get it fixed. And of course, there's a safety concern, especially if you're forced to cycle next to motor vehicles.
But again, just don't cycle on the main roads. Main roads are never meant for cycling.
So if public transit is so frequent that you never need to look at a schedule and your trip is already paid for, then why wouldn't you just take the tram? Now, to those clever viewers who know how to count, you'll realize that I haven't talked about 4 cities yet. So what is that 4th?
The 4th city, it has to be somewhere in East Switzerland. Because I know the Romandy, like Lausanne and Geneva or Neuchâtel, are pretty similar to Bern and Basel when it comes to infrastructure. It's probably not St. Gallen. Probably not Schaffhausen. Is it Winterthur?
Cycling city in Switzerland. It's a city about 20 kilometers northeast of Zurich, and it's considered by some to be the most bicycle-friendly city in the country. Winterthur.
Ha! I knew it! I did that in Winterthur!
If Zurich were a sprawling car-infested mess like most American cities, then Winterthur would be one of its suburbs, but instead, it's a separate city home to a little over 100,000 people. As soon as
Winterthur is really pretty. Can recommend visiting. It's a really nice city.
I got to the train station, I knew this was going to be a good...
Are there Interlaken reviews? Yeah, I'm sure there are. I can react to a video another time where we just look at touristy places.
for cycling.
Because Interlaken is very popular for tourism.
There were several underground bicycle parking garages at the station, connected by bicycle paths that are visible from the inside. And as soon as I exited, I saw people cycling everywhere, as well as rows of parked bicycles. The other side of the train station was a little less bicycle friendly, but there were buses everywhere, including these trolley buses.
Gotta be honest, I haven't been to Winterthur since I was a kid. I just don't go to East Switzerland that often. Like, anything past Zurich, I haven't been since I was a kid.
I like trolley buses. It always blows my mind when I arrive in a small city like this and it's covered in public transit.
It's a small city, but for a Swiss standard, Winterthur is pretty big.
Even in the evening.
Gotta say it.
Meanwhile, my hometown has 4 times the population, and you'll be lucky to get anywhere on these infrequent buses.
Why are the buses so small? Even is around here.
Buses that are always stuck in traffic. Winterthur has more trains in half an hour than my hometown does all day.
Wait, what? What? London, Canada. It's like only like 10 trains a day? What? Are you shitting me? No way that's real. What? No. What the fuck? No wonder nobody takes a train in Canada. What?
Anyway, Winterthur was very interesting, especially in the city center, which is mostly pedestrianized with cycling permitted. For the most part, the only motor vehicles I saw were the occasional delivery van or truck.
Only service and delivery vehicles are allowed in pedestrian areas.
Like many other successful cities, Winterthur relies more on restricting cars than building lots of protected bike lanes.
That's how it should be. And it saves money. It saves a lot of money. Because less cars means you can save on infrastructure building. It also helps protecting the roads. Because too much car traffic damages the roads more often. So less cars damages the roads less and they need repairing less often. It's how it should be.
There were lots of shops and businesses with bicycle racks out front, and they were well used. I saw people of all ages cycling, and lots of people using bicycles for everyday transportation.
Yeah, you see people all ages cycling here. You sometimes see 70 or even 80-year-old people just cycling around. Like my grandma, who I don't talk to anymore, but she was traveling around well in her 70s with no issues.
I saw a few cargo bikes, but bicycle trailers were much more common here. It was great to see the mail being delivered.
This is how I get my mail too. This is how my mail gets delivered in my village. I love these little shits. These are so funny. Package still gets delivered in a van, but this is how mail and newspapers get delivered. But those further non-existent. Damn.
Like this one. And it's always good to see raised crossings like this that are very safe and convenient.
Yeah, raised crossing should always be a thing.
But when I got out of the pedestrianized areas, some of the roads were not
Again, a fucking main street.
good. Farther away.
Main street you should cross on foot and then cycle on the other side. You never cycle along a main road ever. Why even would you want to?
From the city center, the neighborhood
I just don't get that point. Sorry.
I saw several people cycling.
much nicer than the fucking main street. And it also doesn't have infrastructure.
But the main roads look like this.
Why would you go this road? Like, even if it has a proper infrastructure. When there's a better road, just 100 meters on this side. This makes way more sense.
The other Swiss cities featured in this video,
I will die on this hill, okay?
was painted bicycle gutters.
Waiting for my haircut and got lunch. I still had time to catch the rest of the scene.
And
Yeah.
these produced predictable results.
Okay.
These produced
This. That's a fucking asshole. If it just dropped someone off to then drive away, fine. But this is such a fucking asshole. Like, just get off the main street into this street and then park there. Because here it shows a parking symbol. You just get around the corner and probably find parking there. Like, bro, what is this shit?
predictable results.
It's just a dickhead.
And it seems that cyclists are expected to act like drivers. I think that Switzerland can get away with this slightly more than other countries because, for the most part, the drivers here are better behaved.
Oh, absolutely well better behaved. Like, if you compare a Swiss driver, even a Zurich driver, to, for example, a German driver, night and day. Like, you take a Zurich driver any day over a German driver. I don't want to be in the same area code as an American driver.
For example, drivers in Switzerland actually stop for people at zebra crossings.
Yeah, because it's normal. Bro.
Well, most of the time anyway.
Okay, that's... Okay, but, trucks always drive through unless they see you long ahead. But this is just, I think, a tram stop. Wait. They just drive through this area because they take so long to stop and then start speeding up again. But cars usually stop. Unless they're in a hurry, which is rarely the case.
Even this cat has learned the right way to cross the street.
Cat is crossing.
The rules of the road are...
This is a view of the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Just look at all this outdoor seating. If you're in Bern, go to fucking 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And have a coffee right here. Shit is awesome.
fairly well enforced in Switzerland, and the fines are scaled by income. So if you're wealthier, you pay more. So rich people
Yeah, Switzerland has taxes right, by the way.
can't just get away by paying off a small ticket. But that isn't really an excuse not to build better cycling infrastructure, as there are only so many people who will cycle on streets like this.
But again, this is a street where, why would you cycle here? There is no destination anywhere nearby. Why would you cycle through here? There's nothing in this area. Unless you live right here. Otherwise, why would you want to cycle here? And even then, this is side street on the other side of these buildings. Perfectly fine for cycling. I never get why people want to cycle on arterial roads.
I know, I wouldn't. Ultimately, there's a limit to how many people
I just don't see the purpose of wanting to cycle through these roads.
cycle when the only safe
Unless I want to save, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes.
routes are through neighborhoods and side streets. But things are progressing quickly, and there's definitely...
Like, I agree, better cycling infrastructure everywhere, all the time. But main streets don't need to be made for cycling. Just make the side streets even better.
hope for the future. I love Switzerland, and I try to visit every few years. So if things keep improving like this, maybe, just maybe, next time I'm here, I'll choose a bike instead of the tram. I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay me to watch other people's.
But yeah, I know that Bern is definitely improving. I don't know about Zurich that much. But since Zurich has such a huge population, it probably improves a lot too. That was fun. But overall good video. Think about the system propaganda stream. I try. And I'm probably gonna do another one next week. Most likely. First, because we have 3 more videos in my playlist. And second, it's fun. And third, I don't want to rush Safi's thumbnail. She still likes to draw a thumbnail for the next playthrough. So, yeah. I just wanted to have the time to cook. And I think that's fair. Okay. Let's see if I can rate someone. They're a cook, yeah. Oh, someone who never rated before his life. Hell yeah. We're gonna raid Captain Camille. I follow her because she plays Xenoblade. I'm just doing an indie showcase stream. So we're gonna rate her. And yeah. Everyone! Members, I see you guys tomorrow for Macho's Mask. And the rest is you guys Tuesday for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 birthright for real this time. And then well, follow me on Blue Sky and join the Discord if you haven't yet. And yeah, I see you guys. Bye bye.